Recording in progress.
We're already in progress.
Good evening and welcome to the Federal Way City Council meeting for Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, it's great to see this many people here. It's going to be a very interesting meeting, and I can tell you, I speak for the entire council when I say it's always great to see this many of our fellow neighbors here, and we're looking forward to a great meeting. And I see our fun costumes in the back. That's going to be a lot of fun. Good to see you guys. Also, before I forget, Councilmember Hung Tran had a family emergency. One of his family members was ill, and so he was not present for the study session and will not be present for this meeting, but that absence is excused. Also, we are joined by Senator Claire Wilson. Senator, thank you very much for being in attendance. And rest assured, Senator, we're working on our legislative agenda. We'll get to it. We'll get you our homework as soon as we can. Okay, now we've got a very special presentation here. I'll invite the chief to come up, and we will do some swearing in and some promotions. Chief? Chief Andy Wong.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Farrell, Council President Kochmar, members of the council. This evening, we'd like to publicly recognize and celebrate the promotion of two outstanding individuals in the police department and introduce 5 newly hired police officers to you and our residents. Mayor Farrell will then administer the oath of office. First, we have Lieutenant Daniel Graff. We're proud to announce the promotion of Corporal Daniel Graff to the rank of Police Lieutenant. Danny brings wealth of experience and leadership to this role. He has served in law enforcement for 20 years, including past 15 years with the Federal Way Police Department, after joining us as a seasoned officer from Hawaii. Before his law enforcement career, Danny served 20 years in the United States Navy, holding various supervisory and training positions. At Federal Way PD, Danny has consistently demonstrated professionalism, dedication, and a strong commitment to serving the community. He has served as longtime field training officer. He has held specialized roles, including member of the Defensive Tactics Arrest Control Team, school resource officer, emergency vehicle driving instructor, and a member of the Major Crime Scene, as well as Detectives Unit. Danny's highly respected within the department for his strong work ethic and leadership skills. Danny has served as a leader on patrol squad and has held the rank of corporal for more than a year, further proving his readiness for this new role. Please join me in congratulating Lieutenant Daniel Graff on the significant achievement in his law enforcement career, and we look forward to his continued leadership and continuation to the Federal Way Police Department. Joining Danny this evening is his girlfriend Maria and his son Tristan, who will be coming up to pin the lieutenant's badge. Yep, come on up, Maria. This is the time, yep. Tristan, you can go up there as well, yep. Congratulations. Next, we have Corporal Jason Avestruz, who is being promoted to the rank of Police Corporal. Jason has been a valued member of the Federal Way Police Department since 2021. Prior to joining our department, he served as a Federal Reserve law enforcement officer and brought with him a strong foundation in public safety and discipline developed through his military service. Jason served over 3 years as an active duty in the United States Army as an artilleryman and a squad leader, followed by 4 years as an intelligence liaison officer in the Army Reserves. Since joining Federal Way PD, Jason has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to Patrol Division, working across all shifts, days, swing, and nights, and actively participating in various community engagement events. In 2023, Jason was selected as a field training officer, where he played a critical role in mentoring and training department's newest officers, as well as his ability to instill excellence, professionalism, and safety to the next generation of officers. Corporal Avestruz is widely respected throughout the department for his reliability, sound judgment, and exceptional work ethic. His leadership and dedication and commitment to public service makes him a natural fit for this new role. Please join me in congratulating Corporal Avestruz on this well-deserved promotion and the significant milestone in his law enforcement career. Okay, joining this evening with Jason is his mother, Miss Avestruz, and his 2 children, Dominic and Sarah, and they'll be coming up to pin the corporal badge. Come on up, kids. How exciting. Yeah. Cute kids, all right. Okay, the 5 remaining officers standing before you are both entry-level and experienced lateral police officers currently participating in our field training program. These officers are exceptional individuals and people of integrity, and we're fortunate to have them as part of our team serving our community. First, we have Officer Douglas Wiebel. Doug was hired as an experienced lateral police officer on October 16th of this year. Doug grew up in Bremerton area and graduated from Olympic High School. He has earned an associate degree, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and a master's degree in the same field. Before joining the Federal Way Police Department, he served as a sergeant for the Des Moines Police Department, our neighboring agency. And prior to that, he was a sergeant with the Washington State Liquor Control Board. Doug lives in Gig Harbor with his wife and their son, and they're expecting their second child, a daughter, in February. Thank you for joining our agency, Doug. Next, we have Officer David French. David was hired as an entry-level police officer in February of 2025. He was born and raised in SeaTac, Washington. He earned his diploma at Highline Community College. Before coming to work for the Federal Way Police Department, David was an aviation technician at Boeing. When not at work, he enjoys spending time with his wife and their children. He graduated from the Basic Law Enforcement Academy on August 6, 2025. Next, we have Officer Zachary Louie. Zachary was hired as an entry-level police officer in March of 2025. He was raised in Kent and graduated from Kent Ridge High School. Zachary attended Bellevue College, earning his associate degree, and later pursued his bachelor's degree in business administration with focus on marketing at the University of Washington. When not at work, Zachary rides motorcycles and explores the outdoors. Zachary graduated from the Basic Law Enforcement Academy on August 6, 2025. Thank you for joining our agency, Zach. Next, we have Officer Kyle Duda. Kyle was hired as an entry-level police officer in April of 2025. He grew up in Puyallup and graduated from Roger High School. Kyle earned his bachelor's degree in business administration from BYU, Idaho. Prior to joining the Federal Way Police Department, he worked as a property claims adjuster for the Mutual of Enumclaw Insurance Company. Kyle enjoys spending time with his wife, Ashley, and they have two children, Riley, who is 7 years old, and Grant, who is 4 years old. Kyle graduated from the Basic Law Enforcement Academy on October 15, 2025. Okay, lastly, we have Armando Barrero. Armando was hired as an entry-level police officer in May of 2025. He was raised in Orlando, Florida, and graduated from Lake Nona High School. Armando served in the United States Army from 2017 to 2024, earning the rank of E5 Sergeant as a fire direction specialist in the artillery branch. He's had 4 rotations, which include South Korea, Japan, and the Philippines. When he's not at work, Armando enjoys spending time with his girlfriend Rosa and camping. He graduated from the Basic Law Enforcement Academy on October 15, 2025. Yeah, please join me in congratulating the well-deserved promotions and welcoming the newest members of the Federal Way Police Department. Lieutenant Graff, if you could come up to the podium. Officers, if you could stand behind the lieutenant.
Lieutenant, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name.
I, Daniel Graff,
Do solemnly swear that I'm a citizen of the United States
do solemnly swear that I'm a citizen of the United States,
and the state of Washington,
state of Washington.
and that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and laws of the state of Washington,
and the laws of the state of Washington,
and will, to the best of my judgment, skill, and ability,
and will, to the best of my judgment, skill, and ability,
truly and faithfully,
truly and faithfully,
diligently and impartially,
diligently and impartially,
perform the duties of lieutenant
perform the duties of lieutenant
in and for the city of Federal Way,
in and for the city of Federal Way,
King County,
King County,
state of Washington,
state of Washington,
and other duties as prescribed by law.
and other duties as described by law.
All right, congratulations. Now we are on to Sir? All right. This is Corporal Evestris?
Yes, sir.
Corporal Evestris, would you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, please state your name.
I, Jason Avestruz,
Do solemnly swear that I'm a citizen of the United States
do solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States
and the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington.
and that I will support the Constitution
And I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and laws of the state of Washington,
and laws of the state of Washington,
and will, to the best of my judgment,
and will, to the best of my judgment,
skill, and ability,
skill, and ability,
truly and faithfully,
truly and faithfully,
diligently and impartially,
diligently and impartially,
perform the duties of corporal
perform the duties of corporal
in and for the city of Federal Way,
in and for the city of Federal Way,
King County, Washington,
King County, Washington,
and as such duties as prescribed by law.
and such duties as prescribed by law.
Congratulations. All right. This is quite the group. Officers Wiebel, Barrera, Duda, French, Louis. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear that I'm a citizen of the United States and the state of Washington, that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and laws of the state of Washington, and will, to the best of my judgment, skill, and ability, truly and faithfully, diligently and impartially, perform the duties of police officer in and for the city of Federal Way, King County, Washington, and duties as prescribed by law. Congratulations. We've got quite the group here. Why don't we, council, should we get like a group picture? Maybe the council standing and officers, what do you think? Maybe you guys behind, like in front of the podium, and then the council will stand up behind you and we'll take a group picture.
Federal family, if you want this photo, please don't be shy. Come on up to the center. Take a picture.
Okay, hold on.
Anybody else?
All right. All right. Thank you, officers.
Okay, Federal Way family, this is your opportunity to leave. Otherwise, you're here till 10:30.
Okay, and now we are on to the Federal Way Link Extension briefing. Katie Druhl with Sound Transit Government and Community Relations Director will give us a presentation. Katie, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Mayor, Council President Kochmar, and council members for the opportunity to provide you an update today. I'm Katie Druhl. I'm the Director of Government Relations in South King County for Sound Transit, and I'm excited to just provide a quick update for you all on our plans for the opening of the link extension, which is coming right up, I'm told, 1 month from tomorrow. 31 days, but who is counting? I want to start by acknowledging that Lynette Riley Hall is here with me. She's the Executive Project Director for the Federal Way Link Project. Her team, city staff, you all, the community, I'm so grateful for the support and the effort that has gone into getting this big investment close to opening. So what is opening going to look like on December 6th? I'll say December 6th 2 more times, I think. We have a lot of plans for the opening event and then the months that follow. But the key things for you all to know is that we are going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony right here at the Federal Way downtown station. The whole community is welcome to join that event. We hope that you will. Following the ribbon cutting and those first rides where we'll invite everybody up to the platform to hop on those first trains leaving again Federal Way on December 6th to go up north and then come back down to Federal Way. We'll have a basically street fair style event at each of the 3 new stations. The way that we deliver these events is via a program that we call the Community Event Fund. And the reason why we have this model with the Community Event Fund is we want to make sure that each event at each station is really reflective of the local community. So we identify a community partner. In Federal Way, that partner is the Federal Way Black Collective to coordinate the event that will be happening at the station. And like I said, it's sort of a street fair model, booths, community organizations, businesses. There's a portal where people can plug in and sign up to be a participant in that street fair event. We are opening on December 6th, which is very close to the shortest day of the year. So we're going to be starting just after 9 a.m. with our program and that first ride, and the plan is for us to be wrapped up by 4 p.m. with all of the events affiliated with the opening. And that's opportune also because December 6th is the date that you all are doing your tree lighting ceremony, and I understand there are some other community events happening here in Federal Way as well. We hope that the opening, which will bring folks in to check out the stations, will also be an opportunity for them to stay and enjoy everything else that Federal Way has to offer. So that is our plan for December 6th, and we're really excited to have you, council and mayor, join us, to have the community join us. It's going to be a big, fun, maybe cold, maybe not party, probably cold, but we are ready. We're going to have a tent. And again, thank you so much for your support as we've delivered this project, your patience as we've been in construction in your community, and we hope you'll join us on December 6th.
Well, thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work done by Lynette. Thank you very much for the work that you and your entire team have done. Sound Transit has come a long way.
Yeah.
And this is, I always refer to this as 100-year infrastructure. And this is something that this community has been planning about, hoping for, and it'll now, like you said, 31 days away. So thank you very much. Again, the date is Saturday, December 6th, and you start at what time?
We're going to start the ceremony, the ribbon cutting program and ceremony is going to be at 9:30.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on down, grab a seat before that so that you're ready for all the fun.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
One of our very first one of our early mayors in the city, who used to be on the Sound Transit Board, Mary Gates, is going to be on one of those very first trains.
I'm so thrilled.
I am too, and so she was very excited about this and served, when this was, one of our original council members of our council, and she'll be there with me when we take that inaugural ride. So as will my colleagues up here. So thank you once again. I appreciate it.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we are on to Mayor's Emerging Issues and Report, and while it's a long list, I promise I'll talk fast. Let's go with Ben Miller's going to help us out. Oh, let's go with the first picture. There's Councilmember McDaniel and I, and we saw these small chairs. We went to three grand openings of some daycares, and he and I, as you know, when you go into these daycares with these little tiny chairs, Paul and I couldn't help but take a seat and look around and remember our experiences. So we thought that was kind of a fun picture. All right, next. Okay, speaking of which, these were the pictures. Many of the council members were in attendance. Senator Wilson was in attendance. There were 3 of those in 1 week, one after the other. And we had a partnership with the Imagine Institute. And their representative was there as well. And these were 3 different homes in which daycares were being opened up. And it was a great opportunity for the council and our senator to really welcome those not only new businesses, but I mean, we all remember where I remember where I went to daycare. In fact, I was just recently, Ben lives in Lakewood, and I can drive to the location I went to daycare in Lakewood, a long time ago. But those are really formative memories, and they're really special for every individual in making sure that families have a place to take their most precious ones, so their loved ones. So it was great to be there for the beginning of those. All right, next. Pete Von Wright, King County Councilman Pete Von Reichbauer there in the top left picture. He's had a long-standing tradition of what he likes to call the Good Eggs Breakfast. That's at Emerald Downs. And we were very fortunate to have Mike Flood, one of the vice presidents for the Seattle Seahawks, present, and he does community relations. And we had a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity to listen to Mr. Flood talk about the great work that the Seahawks are doing in our community. And it's not just about football; it's about outreach and really helping people in the community. So I've heard his name for a long time, and it was great to finally meet him. And see, those are many mayors from and our council members from South King County, and that's one thing that Pete really does is brings the community together. It's a really an amazing thing to see all those elected officials and leaders, school districts in one place, really working on common themes. All right, then we had the go back one. We had the Ben and I attended the drive-through recycling event at the South King Tool Library. They were recycling mattresses and other things at that location. They do tremendous things at the South King Library. I think I saw Amanda is here. Let's give them a big round of applause. They do great work in our community. Before Amanda Miller and the South King Tool Library came along, I think I'd been at the Masonic Lodge like once in my time as a council member, and I'm there almost every week now because Amanda's doing some great things, and we're going to talk about that real quickly. Okay, so we also had the Chop Challenge at Federal Way High School. Pictured with me as I got caught in the rain, but we were with President Valerie Danforth. She is really the founder of Bridging a Gap, which is it's called the BAG program, where they at the various schools in our school district they provide a backpack full of food for families, and they raised a lot of money. The city of Federal Way pitched in for an additional. We had purchased a table for $2,500, but we threw in an extra $5,000 to really. After the testimonials and everything that we heard about how families in our community have challenges, as we all know, from food insecurity, even before this most recent episode. And so we have given the BAG program this year $7,500, and Valerie's done a tremendous work. Well, thank you. Okay, then we had the final farmers market of the season, and how many weeks did we have? Was it like 25?
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months of the market, and at the last market of the season was October 25th, and this was the inaugural year that the city has taken on the farmers market. It had been done by the Rose and Dave Eel and their daughter Carla. And thank goodness, they came along, and also with Vicki Chenoweth, and just a tremendous work. Our Parks Department did great work, and that was the final season. I think they were doing the Thriller. I stuck around just to watch that, so it was kind of fun, and it's always fun to see the costume contest with the kids as well. And then today, that's hot off the presses, the Chamber of Commerce Luncheon, November 5th. That's Becca Martin, the CEO of the Chamber, and we actually heard from Nicholas Van, who's the Washington State Historical Society, I think he's the interim president, and he was really talking about, and you're going to hear a lot more about this in the coming months, and especially next year, about the 250th anniversary of our country. And there's going to be a whole bunch of activities, and it will be involved in that. It's a region thing, it's a national thing, and something to be proud of. I mean, we were talking about me being a kid. I remember how big the bicentennial was in the 200th anniversary, and this is a big deal for our country. We're going to celebrate it here, and it's going to be celebrated throughout our country. So it's going to be a great celebration. I'm glad that Becca is very interested in pursuing that. All right, next. Okay, upcoming community events. We've got Paint the Plow with the Boys and Girls Club. They've got a younger group and an older group. That happens this Thursday, and the council and I are going to join some, first the younger kids and the older kids, and they paint the plow with what their theme this year is, or whatever year it is, and they literally paint a snow plows with their themes. And these are the plows that'll clear our streets when it gets icy and snowing. Okay, and that's right around the corner, as you could tell from the weather. Then we've got movie night. We've got Inside Out 2 at Knutson Family Theater on November 7th. And so that'll be Friday. And then we've got Mending Fair at the Federal Way Library on November 8th. Amanda, I kept thinking it was going to be at the South King Tool Library, but this one's going to be at the Federal Way Library on 3/20th. And if you're interested in that, the details, actually it starts at, gotta put the glasses on, 1 to 5 p.m., Saturday, November 8th. Okay, then we've got upcoming Flags and Veterans Day event at the King County Aquatic Center put on by the Soroptimist. That's November 8th. Councilmember Honda, can you tell us about that?
Sure. Flag Day is usually held in June, and this year, due to a lot of issues, we weren't able to do that. So we thought we would combine Flag Day with Veterans Day. The Soroptimist Club is celebrating the 36th year of Flag Day, so it's been here for a very long time. And the club itself has been here for 50 years. This is our 50-year anniversary. And our current president, Mimi Meeker, is in our audience tonight. You can say hi. Anyway, we're going to be holding Flag Day, Veterans Day, Saturday, November 8th from 3 to 5 at the Weyerhaeuser King County Aquatic Event Center. And for the Flag Day part, we're going to be honoring Mike Dunwoody. And Mike he ran the King County Aquatic Center since it opened until just last year. And he was part of every single Flag Day. And he made Flag Day, he made it happen sometimes because we were outside up until 3 years ago. We held it outside. And he did so much for us to have Flag Day and to make it a great event. And we're going to be honoring him and thanking him for his 36 years of support. In fact, he's even coming early to help decorate. So that's how dedicated he is. For the Veterans Day part, we would like to honor our veterans, all of our veterans, of course, and especially our World War II veterans. So if you know of any World War II veterans, could you please let either me or Vicki Chenoweth know? Because right now we only know of 2, and we know that there's probably a few more here in Federal Way, or South King County. So if you know of anyone, please let us know, and we hope to see you. Invite veterans, invite your friends. We'll have music, we'll have speakers, and it's a very nice event. Thank you.
What was the time again?
3 to 5.
3 o'clock this Saturday.
It's after the parade in Auburn.
Okay. And that's in the pavilion behind the King County Aquatic Center.
Yep, the event center.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, all right. And if you have any questions, just reach out to myself or the council, and we'll get you some of that information. Okay, thank you, Councilmember. All right, and then we've got the Kickin' at Federal Way unveiling event at the PAC on November 14th. You know, next year is going to be a big year with FIFA, the World Cup. This is really about that, and it's going to be on Friday, November 14th. It's going to be at the Performing Arts and Event Center. Ben, what time does that start?
Doors open at 5:30. The program starts at 6. There's going to be free food, giveaways, and live music.
Okay, very good. Thank you. It's a great way to figure out how we're going to connect with the region with regard to all the FIFA activity, and it's going to be a big deal. Okay, the Federal Way Police Department is playing basketball, or the FWPD versus the Ballers at Thomas Jefferson High School, November 14th. That's Chief. Do you have a time on that?
I believe it is 6:30 p.m., and there'll be a raffle and items to give away at the event, so.
Very good. Okay, that'd be fun. It's a great, beautiful new high school as well. Okay, next, let's see here. We've got upcoming community events. We've got Plantapalooza. That is actually over at Steel Lake Annex in Celebration Park, November 15th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We've got the clothing swap at South King Tool Library. That is over there in Amanda's shop, November 22nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and the free upcycled terrarium gifts workshop on December 4th. And that's Thursday, December 4th, 4:30 to 6:30. Again, South King Tool Library, one of our favorite destinations. Okay. Okay, next, we've got the Federal Way Link extension, as we were just informed about just a few moments ago. That's a big deal, obviously historic, a major investment of infrastructure in our community, in our region, and this will be the end of the line for quite some time. That's December 6th, starting at about 10:30. We got the Jingle Bell Brunch, same day, you notice all those events happen. Simultaneously, we've got the Jingle Bell Brunch at Federal Way Community Center, December 6th. And the events are there. That's at 10 a.m. to about 11:30. And then we've got the tree lighting ceremony at Town Square Park. Families, kids performing. I've been assured the hot cocoa is going to be warm this year. And the tree will light on time. And it's a great time to really gather everybody together. And it's just it's beautiful. Sometimes, you know, in the around this time of year, I'll just drive in that way just to go take a look at the tree. And I think actually what John Hutton told us is for a number of years, I won't talk too long about this, you guys, but for a number of years, we were actually building a cage around the tree because in the earlier years, we were wrapping the tree with thousands of lights, and it was killing the tree. And so we built sort of a cage around it, and did that to preserve the tree. This year, the cage is off. We'll be proceeding, and it's going to be great. Our Parks Department does a great job, and it really is a great opportunity for us to come together as a community. And I think the clauses are going to make an appearance with our fire department as well. So come one, come all. Okay, that concludes the emerging issues and report. So now we've got council committee and regional committees reports. We've got the Parks, Recreation, Human Services, Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Walsh.
We will not be having a meeting in November. Our next meeting will be December 9th, right here at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, Land Use and Transportation, Councilmember Dovey.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, our next meeting is going to be December 1st at 5 p.m. On tonight's agenda, you'll find we'll be passing second ordinances of 6 different land use things that we've been working on, enactments. Our meeting last Monday, to me, was kind of monumental because we passed out a committee to go to our staff to start working on affordable housing for purchase. We have one church that's come forward and said they want to sit down with us and decide if they can we can work with them, and that will be coming up in the next council meeting in 2 weeks to vote it out of council that we will actually be doing something. But this council's been working on affordable housing for purchase for first-time buyers and elderly that want to maybe buy a different house than where they live and move down. And so that came out of land use last Monday to go to council for approval on the 2 weeks from now. And so that's a monumental thing, I think, that's happened in Federal Way, and it's moving forward, and hopefully we'll vote on it in 2 weeks to start the process. So that's my report.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Finance, Economic Development, and Regional Affairs Committee, otherwise known as FEDREC. Councilor McDaniel.
Yeah, FEDREC met on October 28th. Tonight's consent agenda includes 6 items. Items B through H, the reapproved, mostly vouchers and finance reports. SCORE jail contracts and Puyallup jail contracts are big pieces. 2 of the ordinances tonight came from FEDRAC, and our next meeting will be November 25th at 5 p.m. in council chambers. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, LTAC, Councilmember Seppa Dawson.
Thank you, Mayor, and I have nothing to report on.
All right, thank you. Regional Committees report, Councilmember Honda.
All right, it's that time of year where if you want to serve on a Sound Cities board or commission, you need to apply by this Friday at 5 o'clock. So they have a lot of openings. Please apply if you're interested. Association of Washington Cities, they have committees to serve on. I've served on 4 of their committees, and you need to apply by November 19th. And the National League of Cities is asking for people to apply for their committees too, and you need to do that by November 19th also. So I would recommend, if you're interested, to look those up. AWC sent out a newsletter November 5th. Is that today? That is today.
Yeah,
So it has all the information you need for AWC and NLC, and Sound City sent out a newsletter a couple days ago with their request for people to apply. The Senior Commission meets next Wednesday, November 12th, 2 to 4, here in the Heilbus Room, and we encourage you to come and see what the Senior Commission is doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Council President.
So, Mayor, I just want to remind you, we were talking about giving some money to the Community Caregivers Network
Yes.
and the Senior Food Bank, both of them on this side of the freeway and the other side of the freeway. Since the 18th is the next meeting, and I'm sure you were going to announce it, just want to make sure that we get that ready by the 8th, because right after that is Thanksgiving.
Well, with Community Caregiving Network also received an additional $5,000. I took care of that. That's something that we had promised when we were there at that event. We had also purchased a table, and so at $2,500. So we've given the Community Caregiving Network $7,500 toward food security in our community. We will also be awarding, and I have actually something that we don't need council approval on. I have up to $20,000 approval, and I've approved $20,000 for each of those two food banks. And I'll let council know when we deliver those checks, and we can have council be a part of that.
Thank you.
Could we do it earlier than we did last year, because they really need the money now?
Yeah, we're doing it now.
I was actually going to ask for like 50,000 for both.
Well-
I still might. I mean,
I think you're right.
They need us, this is a really difficult time, and the more money we can give now and not wait until Christmas time, the better.
You're absolutely right. The 20,000 was what I had the authority to do for each. But we have agenda setting tomorrow, and Council President and I and Councilmember Walsh are going to be there. Let's agenda another item to have this
And
discussion.
I'd like to ask for a little more for the community caregivers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So
Food-
we've got to do some money crunching here.
That's right.
Okay.
Our local paper did a really good job of an article. Oh, I'm sorry.
So at least 50,000 for each food bank.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll talk. Very good, exactly. In addition to the 20? Or inclusive? We'll talk about it.
As much as possible.
All right, I'll have to get Steve Groom, our finance director, I'll have to wrestle him to the floor when we get done with the meeting and
Yeah.
figure out where the extra, but we'll figure it out. We have to. Food security in our community is a big deal, especially with what's happening nationally. This council and the city government is committed to making sure that people in our community are going to be fed. And so we'll take care of that.
One other thing, so I was just in New York at a 27-mile marathon. Now, mind you, it wasn't me in the marathon, but there were 95,000 other people, including 3 of my children, in the marathon. It was pretty interesting because they all got a medal at the end of the, after they exited the marathon. But I want to tell you, of course, they all look like returning conquering heroes, and then everybody was saying congratulations. It was pretty interesting, and what a fundraiser for that city. Whoa, 95,000, that's the
Yeah.
entire population of Federal Way. But I do want to say that, you know, they always say you can get a cab in New York. Oh, my gosh, not necessarily true. I did a lot of walking, and I went to Bryant Park. And Bryant Park is next to the huge library that they have, and it's has an outdoor ice skating rink, which we've talked about here before. But what was interesting, and I took pictures for you, what was interesting is that they had permanent buildings. They're small, and they look, you could make them out of frame, but it looked like they were made out of glass and plastic. But and so they had vendors in each of these buildings that you could go to and either buy jewelry or, homemade jewelry or food. And what was interesting is, since we're talking about the PAC, near the PAC having the farmer's market move there, and possibly an outdoor skating rink in the winter, you could just make your vendors' booths permanently arranged and have it all around the ice skating rink and where the farmer's market would be. So it's kind of something to think about.
It is. Actually, Bryant Park, for those familiar with New York, is actually one of the inspirations for our Town Square Park. It has one of the historic carousels there. There's a lot of great history with Bryant Park. They also have the movies in the park. And so I think this is a great idea. We'll be talking about
I'll
some.
send you some pictures. So
Very good.
it's
Thank
really
you.
an interesting idea.
Thank you. Okay, and now, the most important part of the meeting, we get to hear from the people that we work for, you, and the citizens we serve. And just as a point of personal privilege, Councilmember Paul McDaniel has asked to be part of community, of the public comment, and he would like 3 minutes at the podium. So we'll start with Councilmember McDaniel. That'll be then followed by Alexander Milston, George Houston, Allison Fine for 5 minutes, and quite a number of other folks. So with that, Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Paul McDaniel. I've been a resident of Fedgeway since 1990s, the early time frame. I would note it's been a while since I spoke to council, and I also note that this time I do not have free speech behind me. It's restrictive speech, so I will fall within the rules that are allowed to us as we speak up here. With that said, I'll acknowledge there's two choices everybody has tonight to make when they come up to speak. We can have an option of vilifying language, which is hateful speech, or we can have edifying dialogue, which is uplifting conversation. If you choose the first, I will in position number 2 tonight, direct it towards me. If you come to have a conversation with the whole community, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I've told the council many a times that I believe iron sharpens iron, and I hope you guys are ready tonight to be sharpened. There are many people who will be speaking us tonight and come with their opinions and their points of view. I ask that we all listen to them and hear what they have to speak. When I first came to council, I had no agenda. I came with no ideas and nothing I really wanted to push for. While sitting on the council, I had multiple items come before me that I wanted the council to discuss and talk about and maybe even vote on. 3 of those items were racially restricted covenances, flag policy, and cannabis. I went through all required steps. I talked to the mayor, I talked to legal, I talked to the council president, I talked to staff, I even talked to the residents. I was advised that there's no need for me to talk to the commissions, but I presented 1 item to 3 different commissions for feedback from the residents. From that point, I requested the chairs of the committees to take up my comments, to add it to the agenda, and to have action to bring it before council. Nothing can be done unless it's brought before council on a regular meeting. Nothing can be done at the committees unless it's brought forward. I will assume that most people here are not here to talk about the restricted covenants or the cannabis, so I will focus on the flag policy. The first thing is, the first reason why I brought the flag policy back to conversation is the conversation of power. The council is the one who represents the citizens of the city. There were 7 of us to make the decisions. We have to have 4 to agree upon it. Back at that point, the council had passed it along to the mayor, and the mayor, one person, had the power to do it. So my main purpose was to pull the power back from the mayor and give it back to the council for the decision. The second part of that one is that I wanted to have a vote on the flags to see what we were looking for. I will note that my only vote against the flag was the service flags, and my only vote for a flag was the American flag. The third part and the last part of that one is that the power to the people is something that I think is important. I do not believe we should be giving the premature to the city or to the government for things that we want to do. If the flag is something you want to raise, I think there's a better environment for it to be taken to, and not the council or the city. At any given time, we can take it away because it is not free speech, it is governmental speech. I believe that the Fedgeway Public Market is the correct venue for where we need to bring community together, and I ask you guys maybe to discuss that with them and bring it to them. I look forward to hearing what you say. Thank you.
Thank you. So a public comment is 3 minutes, but if you have actually 5 other individuals that are present, and we already have a few, you can go for 5 minutes. And so we've got a lot of folks that would like to speak tonight, and so green means go, yellow means you've got about 30 seconds, red means please stop. So let's begin. Alexander Milston. And it's for 5 minutes for Alex.
I would like to give 1 second for everyone or for the group to come here with me.
Okay.
Gotta make sure everyone stands clear. Hey, I'm Alex, and I'm from Federal Way, and I'm mad. And for those of you who know me, I don't say that often. Firstly, I want to get this out of the way. The resolution that was put forward regarding the flags should be and must be repealed at once, immediately. 6 people in front of us today voted to attack already marginalized communities here in Federal Way. 6 people have disgraced and betrayed the working class. 6 people have done what they consistently do, failed to meet the needs of the workers of Federal Way. Countless workers here have lost SNAP benefits, and this is what you do, Council. This is what you do. You attack the marginalized while thousands of our neighbors starve instead of backing measures to make their lives better. Shame on you. We, the workers and people of the state, demand better. Repeal this garbage resolution at once and state measures to actually improve our people's lives.
That's right.
Pass a $10 monthly cap on late rent fees to end the $50 a day late rent usury our people face, and ban wintertime evictions to end the preventable freezing deaths of our neighbors, your own constituents, and this time is coming soon. It's fall, winter's coming soon. Attacking working people instead of winning historic victories like victories we've seen in Seattle, where the minimum wage is $21.30, or at least will be up in January, while Federal Way's minimum wage is the state minimum wage of $16.66, which contributes to more food insecurity.
Shameful.
In addition to that, landlords can charge virtually any amount for being late on rent. We've spoken to renters in Federal Way at the public market who have paid $50 a day, sometimes even more than that, and people are being evicted just for being a few days late on rent. Meanwhile, in Seattle, we've seen council members like former Councilwoman Trauma fight for actions which have ended that kind of usury on our workers and of our renters and our people. This needs to be done here as well. They were able to win a $10 a month cap on late rent fees. Why haven't the Republican politicians on this city council passed that cap? Why haven't they? Is there anything special about Federal Way that our workers should be charged more? I'd like to thank Lydia for being the only person who voted against this sham resolution. Lydia, thank you. And shame on the rest of the council for her being the only person who voted against this excuse for a resolution. Lydia, I ask you on behalf of many of the people here, please keep fighting. Keep fighting, keep fighting strong. We have your back, and we want to also use, if you can, please use your office to fight for additional things to help workers and renters here in Federal Way, like the cap on late rent fees, like minimum wage increases, like a ban on wintertime evictions. That would save the lives of so many people. And one person or one council member is able to do it if the other ones are willing to do something to actually help the people instead of attack them. The 6 people who voted against this resolution, who should feel great shame in their vote and should make this right, should work with Lydia to make this right, they all have names. Jack Dovey, what you've done for the people, or what have you done for the people other than be a bigot who voted against Pride and mocked the idea of raising the Irish flag? Shame on you.
Can we hold?
Jack Walsh,
Alex,
you voted
can you hold
for
on
this
just for a second?
disgusting garbage.
Can you pause the timer just for a
And
moment? Alex,
Let her speak.
and never support
our-
the people. Shame on you. Huang Tran's absent.
please direct your comments to the entire council.
Linda Koshmar, when have you supported the working class? You seconding a measure like this is nothing new. Shame on you. Susan Honda, you have always given the aesthetic of a moderate independent, but you aren't. You have consistently fought against workers and voted once again against marginalized communities
Point of
in
order.
Federal Way.
Alex. Yeah, I told you this over the weekend. You can't the rules of public comment say that direct your comments to the entire council,
These are the
please.
people who voted for this resolution.
Yes, sir. That's right. Alex, please. And do you still have the timer paused? Okay. All right. Can we, let's comply with the rules, please.
right.
Would you please restart the timer? Thank you.
Council Position 6. Council Position 3. You voted to attack marginalized groups and attack workers here in Federal Way. If you want to be better, change your vote and back pro-worker measures. Until then, shame on you. And lastly, Council Position 2. I guess your pride and ego couldn't take being a lame duck on this council, and you took it out on the poorest and most marginalized among us. You put forward this garbage resolution, and we the people demand you take it back and make it right by passing a cap on late rent fees and banning wintertime evictions. Until then, shame on you above all.
Please.
The workers and the people stand here strong. And we are going to make sure that no council member who voted for this resolution gets an ounce of support from the working people. And we're going to fight to make sure that every single one of you who voted furthest is thrown out of office. And you six should listen, because when we fight, especially as a community, we win.
So unfortunately, I had to, and thank you, Alex. Unfortunately, I had to interrupt, and I just want to make sure it's why I clarify. The council rules say that the comment should be directed to the entire council, and I just wanted to reiterate that and make sure that our meetings are run well. Thank you very much, Alex. George Houston. And then Allison Fine. Pastor?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I commend all of the council, the mayor, the state representative, and all of my fellow neighbors here in Federal Way who desires that Federal Way would be a good and even better place to live, work, and play. My name is George Houston, and I am speaking on behalf of the Diversity Commission. We would like to share some perspective on the October 21st decision to limit flag raising at City Hall. The commission was disappointed not to have been consulted prior to this item being placed on the council agenda. It is our goal to partner with the city council where appropriate and recognize that part of the purpose of the commission, as established in city code, is to provide guidance to the city council to create a more equitable, accessible, safe, welcoming, and inclusive community. We acknowledge the complexity of many of the decisions considered by the city council, particularly as they relate to ensuring fairness and safety within diverse communities. That said, we also strongly believe that recognition of traditionally marginalized communities is extremely powerful, and removing that recognition may erode trust and cause harm. The commission will be adding this issue to our November 13th Diversity Commission agenda to discuss further. And we will provide our position either in December or January. As I stated earlier, we believe there is a possible outcome that ensures recognition and celebration of our diverse communities by the city in a manner that is commensurate with the prior practice of raising the flags. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Houston. Allison Fine, for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mayor Farrell, council, community for being here. I want to say that while I am a diversity commissioner, and I do echo and support everything that Pastor Houston just said, I do not come representing the commission today. I come representing myself as a community member and the founder of Federal Way Pride. In June of 2019, some of you were on this dais when we had celebrated for the very first time in this city that June is typically recognized as Pride Month. And I stood here with many queer brothers and sisters and non-binary folks, thanking the council and the mayor for that, and asking if we could not just make it a piece of paper, but also raise the flag. And a lot of things happened, and 6 months later, we were in these chambers having a very contentious conversation about that, and it was determined that the mayor can make those decisions. And in 2020, during COVID, we stood 6 to 27,000 feet apart, and we raised that flag for the first time. But I'm not here for scorched earth, which is what I think a lot of you think that I will do. I'm here in disappointment about the way that this was brought, to say that it was not appropriate, or you didn't feel the need to take it to a commission when the DAI commission is right up this alley, I think is not leadership. I think that there are a lot of great things that Councilmember McDaniel has done, a lot of things that he's shared with me long before he shared it with most people. And I have formed a relationship with McDaniel that I had respect for until 2 weeks ago, and now I'm just questioning. For the rest of you, there are some of you who we've already had these conversations, like Councilmember Dovey, where we talked at the Kana celebration and said, you actually said, would you consider moving the flags to maybe someplace else, like Town Square Park? And I said, let's go. Someplace more visible that people actually will see? Yeah, let's do it. I was at a Maroon 5 concert 2 weeks ago, and it was good. I had really good seats, y'all. Like, I could see his abs real close. He's very handsome. And I woke up the next morning to a staff member saying, you should probably watch City Council. And I spent a lot of that day crying. And this is not about the pride flag. This is about our community. This is about, as a community, we should be celebrating differences. I have heard online multiple people saying, and from the dais, that the American flag should represent us all. And in some ways it does, but to a lot of people, it feels very disconnected. I've used the analogy a few times this week. It is like having 3 kids and having a birthday party for Joe and not for Jenna. That doesn't mean Jenna doesn't matter. It just means it's Joe's birthday today. Jenna has a birthday. She will be celebrated. My thing is this: we could have come up with a solution first and then made the necessary changes. But what you did was say, oh, we're not going to celebrate anyone here except the people that only identify with one thing, and you prioritized yourself instead of this community. And there's a lot of this community that is marginalized. There are women, there are queers, there are disabled people, there are Hispanic people, there are African people. There are all people that we could be raising their flags and celebrating them. But instead you said nobody matters because you think we should all be flying one flag and that should be good enough, but it's not. We all deserve a birthday. We all deserve recognition. And you should be ashamed, and some of you are learning hard lessons right now. That said, the marketplace is not going to be around for a long time, so I would suggest Town Square Park would be a great place for this. Also, if we want to really feed people here, I don't know, I happen to be a comedian and I happen to be doing fundraising in Seattle for a food bank. I'm sure we could figure out something in Federal Way. I've said this so many times in the 12 years I've lived here, do better.
Okay, so I've got quite a number. Why don't I'll read off the names of the folks that are next, and if you could sort of queue up where we can move efficiently. We've got Michelle Meeker, followed by Amanda Miller, then Vivian Alexander, then, then Matthew Malloy, M. Smith, Jeffrey Tancredi, Ron Kaler. That's what I have so far. Okay, Michelle?
Dear Mayor Farrell and members of the City Council, I'm Michelle Mimi Meeker, resident of Federal Way and currently Vice President of Federal Way Pride. I'm here representing our board, our members, and our LGBTQIA+ community in and around Federal Way. We want to express our strong opposition to the recent decision to limit the flags flown at City Hall to only governmental and military flags. This vote may appear neutral, but it hits hard and it hurts many. It tells residents and other historically marginalized communities that our stories, our struggles, and our celebrations are not worthy of public recognition, that our visibility is optional, that our inclusion is conditional. The pride flag is not a political statement. It is a symbol of safety, love, resilience, and belonging. When it flies at City Hall, it tells queer youth that they are seen. It tells LGBTQIA+ elders that their lives and legacies matter. It tells every resident that Federal Way is a place where diversity is not just tolerated, it's embraced, and that they are safe here. To say that one flag unites all ignores the reality that for many, the American flag has not always represented safety or equality. Every day, cultural and community flags are disappearing with our collective civil rights and members of diverse populations. Community flags matter. They fill the gaps left by history. They remind us that unity is not achieved by erasing difference, but by honoring it. Not only is this true for the pride flag, but for the Juneteenth flag and other cultural flags raised and honored annually. Please reconsider this policy. The time of raising a flag shows a far-reaching investment in the many cultures and diversities and communities that support Federal Way politically, economically, and socially. Inclusion is a high moral ground and one that Federal Way pride will stand for in our schools, in our cities, and in our country at any time it is in danger of being jeopardized. Make Federal Way a city that chooses visibility over silence and courage over caution. Thank you for your service and the opportunity to address this.
Amanda Miller.
I hope my phone doesn't die. Hi, everyone. I guess I don't need an introduction too much. My name is Amanda Miller. I am Executive Director of the South King Tool Library. I am a Seroptimist of Federal Way. I am mom to 2 kids in the Federal Way Public Schools. I'm also a Washington Native Plant Society steward, working with the Federal Way Parks. And I'm also in those roles, moving between them. I'm a resident. Sometimes I find myself not even leaving the city or the 3 cities that I run businesses in a week. I try to remove my hats and I can't. Doesn't really matter. You're not here to learn about me. I just would love the opportunity to speak to you all. I think you know why I'm here. The resolution was very disappointing to hear about, and I am a very metered person when it comes to engaging in the public forum because I want to make sure that our organizations are represented in the best way possible. Sometimes I get a little nervous. So I want to just start out by saying that I am thankful for you all for the effort that you've put into and the thought that you've put behind the measures and the practices we have. I do think it was a misstep to change the laws that were in place at the last meeting. So I can't say enough about how Federal Way has now shaped my whole entire life and how I am working to shape its role as well. You got a little intro to that with all of the activities that the South King Tool Library runs and works with, and how we've been influential, I suppose, in engaging in a lot of new and, I wouldn't say innovative, but adventurous new efforts. So to understand that the flags that are represented are not necessarily going to be including everyone is an inevitability. My father was a veteran. He served in Vietnam, and I did not join the military. I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, a very military-heavy region, and that was a privilege and an honor to be able to visit Washington, D.C., to be able to see our military in action. And I do not believe that our military and our whole country can be defined by 1 or 2 labels, and we all transcend those. I'm going to run out of time for sure. I appreciate the alternatives that were put forward after reviewing the council meeting, but I don't see the foresight put forward into the action, and I simply want to come to say that I'm disappointed. I know there's been an onslaught of letters, an onslaught of support that came from that, and I want to also acknowledge our community member, Catherine North, who had a personal emergency and couldn't be here today, and I hope that her letter has made it to all of your eyes. And I appreciate you all listening to everyone today. So thank you.
Thank you. Vivian Alexander.
I come here tonight to express my deep disappointment over the flag resolution that was passed 6-1 at the last council meeting. I did hear the reasoning behind it. The reasoning was that it's important to bring the community together, and this was one person's view, and my guess is it was more than just one person, right? One person's view that we all had the same ideas and thoughts about the American flag. It's interesting because to me, the American flag means a lot of different things. So there's not just one view. Our Federal Way community is rich in cultural diversity, and the flying of various flags along with the American flag, to me, symbolizes respect for all members of our community. Now, everybody's not going to agree with that. And that's where the disappointment comes in, is because this could have been handled so differently. And, you know, maybe this is not the location for all the flags. But there was no thoughtfulness that went into this, in my opinion. It was brought up that maybe the flags could be placed somewhere else. Well, why didn't this discussion take place prior to this vote? I am just so, I don't know. I don't want to use the word disappointed. You're all adults, you're all human beings, and my thought is I'm speaking to other adults, and I want someone to keep repeating to me and telling me how they were disappointed in me. I would want others to try to problem solve with me. So that's for myself where I'd like to leave this. I'd like to leave this at possibly this can be changed, reversed. Let's do what we have been doing, and at the same time make a decision about how it could maybe be done better, if that's the thoughtfulness and the caring that goes into making the next decision about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Malloy. And then M. Smith.
I'm going to rescind my time and have M speak.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is M. Smith. I'm a member of Workers Strike Back. Right now, millions of people are being denied their full SNAP benefits, food that they rely on. Healthcare premiums are skyrocketing. In June, it was reported that there's a crush of evictions in King County. The Democratic and Republican parties have both presided over attacks on workers, on renters, on oppressed people. And instead of solving any of these issues or giving desperately needed relief to workers and renters in this city, the Republicans on the city council are voting to ban flags in Federal Way. This includes the gay pride flag, the trans pride flag, the Palestinian flag, the Juneteenth flag. This is an outright attack on LGBTQ people, Black people, Palestinians, and other oppressed groups who are already under attack by Trump and the right wing nationally. There's been a 2-year genocide in Gaza. Over 500,000 people have been killed. That genocide has been funded by both parties, Republican and Democrat, to the tune of tens of billions of dollars, including, by the way, the council member for this district, Adam Smith, first under Joe Biden and then under Donald Trump. And your response to that genocide is to ban the Palestinian flag. Instead, you should be passing a resolution to ban all U.S. military aid to Israel, passing a resolution calling for that by the U.S. Congress. Trans people are also being viciously attacked by Trump and the Republicans, including with attacks on gender-affirming care. Not only that, 40% of homeless youth identify as LGBTQ. Your response is to ban the gay pride and trans pride flags. Oppressed communities are the most at risk of eviction and homelessness. Black renters make up over half of eviction filings nationally, despite making up only 20% of renters, and your response is to ban the Juneteenth flag. In Federal Way, there's no cap on late rent fees. Landlords can charge $50 a day or more for being late on rent. Do the math. If you're 7 days late on rent, that's $350 that you owe in late rent fees. You can be evicted, not because you can't afford the rent, but because you can't afford the late fees for being a week late on rent, because you already couldn't afford it. And so the answer is to drive the knife in further while people get evicted. Instead of banning flags, as an earlier commenter said, you should be banning these crushing late fees and junk fees. Seattle Councilmember Kshama Sawant led a movement to win a $10 a month cap on late rent fees in Seattle. That's been a lifeline for Seattle renters. Kshama and the movement won that 4 years ago. That's 4 years of hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars in late fees for renters in Federal Way that could have been prevented. A $10 a month cap, it's not just Seattle, a $10 a month cap on late rent fees has been passed in Burien, it's been passed in Auburn. Where is that in Federal Way? The Democrats and the Republicans on this council should be fighting like hell to win that for renters instead of passing these useless flag bans that are attacks on oppressed people. We need independents like Kshama Sawant who are going to fight for those things. We need a movement of people that are going to fight for renters and working class people in this city, in all of King County. Shame on you. Repeal this ban and pass things that actually help renters and workers in the city.
Jeffrey Tancredi, and then Ron Kaler.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President Kochmar, council members. It's great to be here. First of all, Councilmember McDaniel, I agree with your resolution that you proposed, and I'd like to commend you and Councilmember Asefa Dawson for your October 21st first discussion. Even though you had disagreements with each other, you conducted yourselves in a very professional manner as you discussed both your points of view. Just speaking from my own point of view, from my background, my grandfather immigrated from Italy. He was an Italian immigrant. He came to Philadelphia through Ellis Island, but as my father said, he didn't want to stay in South Philly. There's a lot of Italians in South Philly. He didn't want to stay there. He came south to Washington, D.C. My dad said Grandpop was all-American. He just wanted to be around Americans. So my grandfather enlisted in the United States Navy during World War I. He was not a U.S. citizen at that time. As you know, the immigration laws are such that you can get your citizenship as a result of serving in the military. So this is my grandfather's naturalization certificate, 1922, is immediately after he got out of, came out of the Navy after World War I. I believe that the U.S. flag is a unifying symbol. My father served in the Second World War. He was born and raised in Washington, D.C., where my grandparents settled. He's a lifelong Washingtonian, Washington, D.C. resident. My father served in World War II. He served under General Patton. I'm very proud of my father. And then I followed in their footsteps and I served in the United States Army. I believe that this is a unifying symbol, the U.S. flag. It doesn't disparage anybody else. I'm just speaking from my own point of view where I grew up in the nation's capital. My parents were both born and raised there. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I just wanted to commend you all for the decisions that you made. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Kaler.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilmember Kochmar, fellow other council members and guests that are here. I agree with the proposal of the unifying of the American flag and excluding the other flags, the cultural flags, which can go every which way if you want, if you're looking culturally. I served in the United States Navy. In that service, I was comrade to guys from all over the country, guys from different backgrounds, different cultures, different mindsets, different understandings and perspectives, but we all served with one purpose, and that was to serve our nation with respect and honor and under a flag that unified us all. Nobody had their own little flag. It was one service, one flag. My father was a 30-year Air Force officer, we moved all over this country. My two brothers and I were all born in different states. We moved so much. But I've traveled extensively throughout the world. I've got a very diverse family. I got Cambodian, I got Chinese, I've got Mexican, I've got my lovely wife from Chile as well. And they all serve and proudly respect the United States flag. They don't have their own flags. There's no Cambodian flag. There's no Chilean flag hoisted anywhere. We serve under one flag. And I applaud the council for their decision-making. I think it's respectful. I think it respects all people from all areas and backgrounds, and I appreciate it. Thank you all, and thank you for this voice and platform to do this. Thank you.
Okay, we've got Craig Patrick, George Vedino, Doug Stensby, Jim Grayson, Kevin Morris, and Lucia Faithful. All right, Craig.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Farrell, Council President, council members, community, amphibians. Thank you for coming out. My name's Craig Patrick. I am a resident of Federal Way. I have the honor of being on the Diversity Commission. I'm the vice chair of the Diversity Commission. And the flags, we started the flag celebration. It was a celebration. You know, we were celebrating Pride, the Irish flag. We were celebrating Juneteenth. Somewhere along the lines, it became disconnected where we were raising flags of concern or grievances or other issues. You know, we started with the Ukrainian flag, and I understand why we raised that. However, we have Russian citizens in America. So we have Russians in America, we have Ukrainians in America, we're all under the umbrella of America. I really enjoyed the flag raising when it was a celebratory thing. I feel like when it gets weaponized, we're choosing winners and losers. You know, as an Irish Catholic, we've been under attack by our legislator, Senate Bill 5375. That went to the Supreme Court and was gutted. So luckily, none of our priests will be serving any jail time for not complying. As far as the flags go, I was not happy that no one came to our Diversity Commission to discuss this, to run it by us or gave us our thoughts or our ideas about this, or what the issue was with what's coming up, or how can we go about this differently. We have an RCW on file. It says the Federal Way Diversity Commission is hereby created to establish for the city. The purpose of Diversity Commission is to engage with underrepresented communities, to solicit feedback and information that would help identify opportunities to address issues of diversity, promote diversity programs, and provide equity, accessibility, safety, welcoming, and inclusive government and community. Federal Way Revised Code 2.65.010. So I would like to propose a truncation of the flag raising until we get I put a hold on the flag raising stoppage, not to keep raising them, but until we have some kind of protocol where you petition for your flag and what are you celebrating. I would like to have there's a legal word they use when they put something on hold for a while until they can look at it. And I think that there is opportunity for flag raising. I think it should be a celebratory thing. This is just me. I think it should be a celebratory thing. I got to be careful because I'm on the Diversity Commission. I think everyone should have the opportunity to express themselves. You know, when we work with the city, it's one way, but when we work with another organization, it's a different way. But I appreciate the opportunity, and I think that we should probably put it on hold until then. Thank you.
Thank you. George Vedino.
Mayor Farrell, Council President Honda, council members, members of the public. Before I start, I just want to put on the record that right now I'm not representing any organizations or bodies that I'm a part of. Those who are advocating against flying flags in general have often tried to frame this issue as if it is about all the potential flags to fly. I'm going to keep my attention focused on the individual flag that is the true point of contention here, the LGBTQ pride flag. The overwhelming majority of those who have been advocating against flying any flags in general have been truly motivated by a desire that specifically the pride flag not be flown. Opponents of flying the pride flag have long argued that it is divisive and that this divisiveness is detrimental to our community. They claim that they want unity. The truth is they do want unity. They want unity against LGBTQ rights. Civil rights movements like the LGBTQ rights movement can be divisive. When an oppressed group fights for their rights and a part of society is determined to deny them those rights, there will be division. The flying of the pride flag is about supporting the rights of LGBTQ people rather than denying them those rights. Flying it is about showing LGBTQ people that in our community, showing LGBTQ people in our community that they are seen, that they belong here, and that they are supported by their community. That is how the pride flag is inclusive. The opponents of flying the pride flag wish for the city to not send that message of inclusion. In June of 2019, the Federal Way City Council passed a proclamation in support of the LGBTQ community. Every single council member at the time not only voted in favor of the proclamation, but each council member, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, all read a portion of that proclamation out loud from the dais. The Federal Way City Council is officially nonpartisan, but both back in 2019 and in 2025, most members of the council publicly identify as either a Republican or a Democrat. The bipartisan 2019 reading of the proclamation sent a powerful and meaningful message of inclusion. That proclamation is an example of the type of support that we should be expressing to LGBTQ people in our community. And I'm disappointed that last night, with a 6-1 vote, the council moved backwards rather than forwards.
Doug Stensby, and then Jim Grayson.
I'm Doug Stensby. I've lived in Federal Way since 2004. I live just south of the Fred Meyer store. And Mayor Farrell and President Council and President Kochmar and members of the council, thank you for an opportunity to address you directly. I recently wrote a letter to you, but let me reiterate my thoughts. I speak in favor of your recent decision in flying the American flag on city property. It fosters true inclusion for all. Inclusion must be more than just the aggregation of various groups and affiliations. Each time we define who is in a group, we also define who is not in that group. Either you're inside the circle or you're outside. We do not become more inclusive by adding other groups to the roster of identifiable entities. Our true inclusion must be based on something irrefutable and basic. We are all members of the same human race. The flag of the United States is not just a symbol of national pride, but points to the inclusion that we intend for ourselves. The Declaration of Independence states, all men and women are created and equal. The Constitution begins with, we the people. And after a bloody civil war, that inclusion was clarified in the 14th Amendment, nor denied to any person the equal protection of the laws. This is the true inclusion that we celebrate at the raising of the American flag. Our nation is composed of people and families from every corner of the world, most of whom came here to find and share in those gifts and rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We will celebrate with each other the various parts of our divergent heritages, such as holidays and foods and customs and music. All are welcome, but let the flag of the United States of America continue to speak to us of the hope that all who come here may find life and liberty for all. And may we also consider these things in gratitude for all who have served in our nation's forces on this coming Veterans Day. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jim Grayson, then Kevin Morris.
I was not going to say how long I've lived here until my predecessor said so. My family and I have lived in Federal Way for over 50 years. We've been involved with everything that's happened in Federal Way, and I'm very proud to be here this evening, but my heart is a little bit heavy. As an honorably discharged military veteran, it's been gratifying to honor those who have given their dedication, and in some cases, their lives to our country. Particularly in Pride Month, it's been very gratifying to see us honor those people. Some of them had to hide as they were serving our country. I reflected on my 1/3 Irish heritage, and it's been a pleasure to be at St. Patrick's Day with the Patricks and other people in our community. Our country was actually built on the back of slave labor, as we all know. And so I did not even know anything about Juneteenth when I first got here, but it's been a pleasure, again, to be in my city where I live and celebrate Juneteenth. I'm proud to live in Federal Way, as you can see, but I'm very disappointed to see the kind of things that I thought would only be happening in Alabama, Mississippi, and South Carolina happening here in my city. I don't think that's what we came here for. I don't think that's what we ought to be doing, and I hope we'll change that decision. Thank you.
Kevin Morris.
Mayor Farrell, Council President Kochmar, council members, I'm humbled with what I've been hearing today, and I'm wondering, when I look out and listen to some of the people that have spoken, I'm going to ask the question, what percentage are we of actual citizens of the United States? I'm not sure it's 100%. And I wonder, too, how many people in this room, when we opened the meeting, or when Mayor Farrell opened the meeting, and we stood up and we said, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, for liberty and justice for all." I support the actions that the council took. I support the only flags that should be shown or flown over city buildings, that the highest flag will be the American flag, and then the state flag, and the City of Federal Way flag. I also don't have a problem whatsoever with, Jack, you had an idea of if you want to build a pavilion somewhere and raise your flags, do it at your expense, not at taxpayers' expense. And you can put your gay flags up, or your pride flags up, and your Palestinian flags up, and your whatever else flags up, as long as you're paying for it, and not taxpayers paying for it. Thank you for taking that stance, Council.
Okay, the next speakers, Lucia Faithful, Lynn Ormsby, Madeline Grayson, Jerry Jones, Nathan Orth, and Melanie, Melanie Fowler is on Zoom. So, Lucia.
Good evening, Mayor Farrell, President Kochmar, City Council, and members of the public. My name is Lucia Faithful, and I have lived in Federal Way for at least 32 years. Less than 6 months ago, I attended a gathering in front of this building to celebrate June 16th. It was a prideful celebration, which culminated with the raising of the Juneteenth flag. And I am now distressed to learn that the council voted to limit the flag away from the City Hall flagpole. What brought this on? Juneteenth became a federal holiday on June 19th, 2020, and later became a Washington state holiday. It is hard to see that this vote was anything but a step backwards. Had you considered how this would affect city employees, prospective employees, and retirees? Had you considered how this would affect the morale of children in our schools when they learn that this flag is no longer allowed on the city flagpole? I ask these same questions regarding the pride flag. The Juneteenth flag is a symbol of the official end of the most inhumane system in our country's history. This is a fact that should not be erased, but held as a reminder that we as a people need to keep moving forward and support those who have been harmed. In that regard, I ask the City Council to reconsider your vote and restore the previous flag policy. To do so will help to demonstrate to everyone that the city will care for their safety, well-being, and dignity. Thank you for your time.
Lynn Ormsby.
My name is Lynn Ormsby, and I've been a resident of Federal Way since 1974. I was most frustrated to read about the change in policy regarding culturally inclusive flags flown at City Hall. You need to consider that not every Federal Way citizen has any relationship with members of the City Council. Many are unable to even name current City Council members representing our city of 100,000 people. For that reason, it's even more relevant to acknowledge those citizens who value a flag representing their pride in identity. Feeling valued will often lead to further engagement in Federal Way's events, issues, and service projects. How can you vote to deny raising culturally inclusive flags that promote a strong emotional connection to our city, honor the diversity of our students? How can you vote to take away a right already established? Fly our flags representing our citizens. Thank you.
Madeline Grayson, and then Jerry Jones.
I am certainly puzzled, dismayed, and opposed to the vote that was taken by the City Council to ban flag raising. What could possibly be the motivation for doing so? Flag raising ceremonies that I have attended have been celebrations of the diversity in Federal Way. They have been meaningful and joyful. Members of our community have participated and have appreciated the inclusion of everyone. Certainly, the council will vote to reverse this unwise decision. Thank you.
Jerry Jones.
Hi, my name is Jerry Jones. I've been living in Federal Way since June of 2000. I worked at the Federal Way 320th Library for more than 20 years and have been retired now for 3 years. I'm here today to speak up as a member of the community and as a person of faith, to ask you all to reconsider your vote against flying the diversity flags. Juneteenth pride, and Irish flags. Those were the three I heard in the recording, so I don't know if there's more than that. But anyway, we have a great diversity commission that worked hard to establish these Juneteenth and Pride celebrations and flag raisings. I am not Black. I am also not LGBTQ or even Irish. Even so, I was so proud of our city when we raised those flags, and it saddens me greatly that we are so willing to take them down. I'm especially curious as to what led to this and what exactly the order means for flags anywhere in our city parks and on city property, because when I read it, it spoke to city property. Is it just the official city flag poles that this applies to? Or is it any flag for any sports team playing at Celebration Park? Or any flag celebrating the diverse cultures at a cultural festival held in one of our parks? Is it also going to be used to ban the flags that are on a street corner during a peaceful rally? Will we no longer fly flags, banners on the smaller poles along 320th Street? And when will all these details be made public? I ask you to reconsider your vote. Open your hearts to all the people of Federal Way who are beautifully diverse. Thank you for listening.
Nathan Orth, and then Melanie Fowler via Zoom.
Good evening, Mayor Farrell and Council. My name is Nathan Orth. I have been a resident of Federal Way for the past 8 years. It's been my great pleasure for the last few months to get to know most of you pretty well. As a husband to a Black woman and a father to a biracial child, I feel compelled to stand before you tonight to discuss flags, history, and symbolism. Flags have been used throughout our history to declare who we are, what we stand for, but history is not intended to always be inclusive. It is intended to be instructive. Following the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln announced that the Emancipation Proclamation would go into effect on January 1st, 1863, promising freedom to enslaved people in all of the rebellious parts of the southern states of the Confederacy, including Texas. Juneteenth refers to June 19th, 1865, the day when Major General Gordon Granger, under a flag very similar to that one, ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas. The Juneteenth flag was designed in 1997 by activist Ben Haith. Haith displayed the first version of the Juneteenth flag in June 1997 in Boston. It was described by Patricia Smith of the Boston Globe as a banner adorned with sunbursts and flaming candles. The current version of the flag, the five-pointed star, refers both to Texas and to the freedom of African Americans in all 50 states. Surrounding it is a 12-ray nova, or new star, representing a new beginning for all. Some may find it divisive for the government to acknowledge and remember that Americans kept Americans enslaved a full 900 days past when it was made illegal to do so. I find it instructive for the government to acknowledge past mistakes in an effort to avoid repeating them. We must not forget that there is symbolism both in what we choose to acknowledge, but also in what we choose not to. When the city raises a Juneteenth flag, it symbolizes to all that we see our Black brothers and sisters, we acknowledge both the shared and unshared parts of our history, and that we all refuse to be divided again. Thank you.
And Heather, do we have Melanie on Zoom?
We do, and I believe Thomas will manage the public comment.
All right. Thomas, or actually, is Melanie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Good
Okay.
evening, Mayor Farrell, Council President Kochmar, and council members. My name is Melanie Four. I'm the Community Impact Manager at Upwards, and I'm here for a very different reason tonight. I'll try to be quick. I wanted to once again thank the Human Services Committee for their very thoughtful recommendation of the BOOST program, as well as the Community Development Team, Parks, Recreation, Human Services, and Public Safety Committee, who have put so much consideration throughout this process. It's wonderful to see the photos of the 3 new childcare facilities open in Federal Way. And yet still there remains a critical need for more childcare in Federal Way, where childcare providers make on average $19.50 an hour, and nearly half of the children under age 6 can't access licensed care. Again, Boost tackles both ends of this challenge. I think by now you know how, but for the community who's present, the goal of our program is to equip low to moderate income childcare providers with personalized coaching and free digital tools so they can streamline their operations, grow revenue, create local jobs, and improve the quality of care. Also, I should note that any family in Federal Way can access 24/7 support from our care specialists. Again, this is entirely free for both providers and families, both during and after the program year. Although this would be our first year partnering with Federal Way, we're very experienced with CDBG funding requirements. We've launched Boost in over 30 cities and counties and counting, many which are going on to their 3rd year, which I think is a testament to the impact of the program and the Boost team. Boost just kicked off its 2nd year in Bellevue after exceeding all projected outcomes in the inaugural year, where we supported 25 childcare providers, created 7 teaching jobs, and created 24 new childcare slots in the first year alone, while expanding access to affordable care for hundreds of families. We recently launched in Everett and soon Bremerton. With council's support tonight, we can bolster the family childcare providers and families in Federal Way who are in most urgent need of help. Mayor, it was endearing to hear your own daycare memories. Before joining Upwards, I was a client and will forever be grateful for the Upwards partner daycares who took care of my 2 boys who I need to put to bed soon. Now, more than ever, we really need to support the child care providers who tirelessly care for our little ones. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Joseph Bowman IV, followed by Tim Burns, Betty Taylor, Trinice Rogers. I should say Pastor Bowman.
Mayor Farrell, Council President Kochmar, and the council, I'm grateful for this opportunity tonight to share these thoughts. This is the letter I submitted to the council, so hopefully you all have had a chance to read it. Federal Way is a blossoming city that reflects the true beauty of cultural diversity and inclusion. What we are witnessing is more than progress, it's purpose. It's the unfolding of a vision where every race, culture, faith, and creed are not only acknowledged, but deeply valued and celebrated. When I was chosen to offer the invocation at the inaugural Juneteenth flag-raising ceremony, it was a sacred honor I'll never forget. In that moment, I could feel the labored breath of my ancestors surrounding me with their strength, their prayers, their tears, and their triumphs, all raising in that very atmosphere. It was as if heaven itself was leaning in, urging us to remember the power of togetherness, healing, and restoration. This nation was built upon the backs of Black and brown people, men and women who were forced to labor against their own will. Yet in their faith and resilience, they laid the foundation for the freedoms we all enjoy today. Their voices still echo through the corridors of time, crying out for remembrance, dignity, and honor. And so, council, I appeal to you, not just as a citizen, but as a descendant of those who endured the unimaginable. I urge you to look deeper, to listen harder, and to lead with compassion. Please understand that the noise of a few who sow division can never outweigh the collective cries of millions who deserve to be seen, respected, and celebrated. Let's continue to make Federal Way a city where inclusion isn't just spoken but lived, where history is not erased but embraced, and where unity is not optional but essential. Thank you, and may God's grace, wisdom, and peace rest richly upon each of you and upon our beloved city. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Tim Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A little while earlier tonight, I watched the city council meeting from the 21st of June, and I was absolutely disgusted with not only the proclamation, but also the vote of 6 of the members of the city council. And To Ms. Seppa Dawson, thank you very much for your comments and your vote. Several of you wrapped yourselves in the flag. I served under that flag with the idea in mind of assuring that everyone who resided or wanted to reside in the United States would feel included and welcomed. That is not the case now. And historically, let's take a look at that flag and what it stood for. We had slavery under that flag. We had murder of indigenous people under that flag. And we had internment camps under that flag. None of those indicate inclusion. The pride flag, the Juneteenth flag, the flag of various countries indicate a pride in their heritage. Unless you are an indigenous Native American, your families, maybe you yourself, came to this country from somewhere else. And you should be proud of that. And welcome and accept the United States. I served in the service, including a year in which I was in, and I hate to say this, but I was in an invading military force in Vietnam. We invaded a sovereign nation. That's not inclusion either. And I have apologized to everyone who is Vietnamese that I've come across for being part of that invasion force. But let's reverse this. Let's allow people to have pride in their heritage, in their well-being, in their own personal beliefs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tim. Betty Taylor, and then Trinice Rogers. And then Martin Moore.
Good evening. My name is Betty Taylor. So I want to, I would like to ask the council, like, so we know that there was a rapist that got sent to Auburn, but then now he's in better way. And I think that it's important for us to know what steps is the city taking in order to make sure that this person gets moved out of the city a better way. That's one thing. So, and then another thing, so when I think about the economics, and when I think about what's going on in the world today, and when I think about how people are troubled on every hand, I can only say that, so everybody here has money, whether it be a penny, whether it be a nickel, whether it be a dime or a quarter. But when you look at the money, what does it say on it? What does it say? What does it say? When we do the Pledge of Allegiance, what does that say? One nation under God. When we look at the money, what does it say? In God we trust. To me, that's good news. So when I think about the economic of the world, I have to look at God, because it's in God we trust. No matter which way, in God we trust. I look at the penny. I don't know where, I don't even know the generation of who came up with the concept of putting in God we trust on the money. It's on your dollar bills, it's on the nickels, it's in the quarters. And then we come to city council meetings, we say we pledge allegiance, and we say under God. We use the word, we use God in all walks of life. And it is not no S on it. It's not G-O-D-S. It's basically G-O-D, God. So we ain't talking about two, we talking about one. So I needed to get that out my system because it was really bothering me. So anyway, yeah. So I got 23 more seconds. And I think it's good for we should be up here talking about how we gonna get this racist out of Federal Way, out of this city. It's good to talk about the flag, but you guys, we got some issues up in this city that we need to be at this podium talking to the council because they work for us.
Thank you, Betty. I'll address Betty, I'll address the Kevin Coe situation as soon as we get done, and but we'll follow up again individually. Trinice Rogers.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm here tonight because I was deeply disappointed by the council's decision to stop raising the Juneteenth flag. I have a question that deserves an honest public answer. Why did the same council members who voted no on this, why did the same council members who voted no this year proudly attend and participate in Juneteenth flag raising in the past? Standing beside the flag, taking photos, and calling it a symbol of unity and freedom, only to now vote against it. If Juneteenth was worth honoring then, why not now? Nothing about Juneteenth has changed. It's still the oldest national commemoration of the end of slavery in the United States. It's still a federal holiday. What's changed is the heart behind the vote. The Word of God says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Your vote showed what was in your heart from the start. Some have said this decision was about consistency. The city won't raise any flags anymore. Not the Irish flag, not the Pride flag, and not the Juneteenth flag. But let's be clear, the Pride flag represents identity. The Irish flag represents heritage. The Juneteenth flag represents American freedom. Every part of that flag tells a story. The bursting star represents a new beginning, a star of freedom rising on the horizon. The arc symbolizes a new dawn, the day freedom reaches all still enslaved in Texas. And the red, white, and blue remind us that Black Americans are and have always been Americans, fully claiming the promise of this nation. But let's tell the truth. When America declared independence on July 4th, 1776, millions of Black people were still in chains. While this nation celebrated freedom, enslaved men and women were treated as property, the very property that built its wealth. And even in bondage, Black people fought in this nation's war, from the Revolution War to the Civil War, shedding blood for freedom they were never paid for. A country that refused to acknowledge them as citizens. In fact, the very first Memorial Day was started by freed Black people in Charleston, South Carolina in 1965. The exhuming Union soldiers from mass graves gave them proper burials and decorated their resting places in honoring those who died fighting for freedom. So before this nation celebrated its soldiers, Black Americans already did. When we celebrated Juneteenth, we are not just celebrating freedom from chains. We are reclaiming the right to live, liberty, and pursuit of freedom and happiness. Can I get an extension? I'm reading.
Yeah.
That was stolen from us from generations. Juneteenth is not a cultural statement. It's not a cultural statement. It is an American correction. By refusing to raise the flag and grouping it with cultural and social symbols, this council didn't show fairness. It showed a fear. It told us that our truth makes some people uncomfortable. If this city can raise flags for commerce, for culture, for community, surely it can raise a flag that honors the freedom bought with unpaid labor, unrecognized sacrifice, and unshakable faith. I urge you to reconsider this decision, not for politics, but for principle, because the Juneteenth flag doesn't just tell Black history, it also tells American truth. The truth deserves to fly high. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin Norton, then Anna Patrick, and then Father Hostler.
Thank you, Mayor Farrell, Council President Kochmar, council members, and thank you to everyone for being here tonight. I speak to you today as a resident, as a practicing Catholic, and as a council member-elect, someone soon entrusted with helping represent everyone in this community. I want to speak clearly in support of raising ceremonial flags at City Hall. Flags such as the Pride flag during Pride Month, the Juneteenth flag in June, and flags that recognize cultural heritage and community observance across our city. Our national, state, and city flags will always remain central and permanent. They represent our shared identity and shared responsibilities. Ceremonial flags do not replace them and are not in competition with them. They complement them. They reflect the people who live here, the human story behind the government building. When we raise a ceremonial flag, we are saying something deeply, deeply meaningful, that you are seen, you are valued, and you belong in this city, something that you've been hearing throughout this period of time. This matters, especially to community members who have historically been overlooked or marginalized. A ceremonial flag flown for a designated period is an expression of recognition. It honors who is here, who contributes, and who call this place home. As a Catholic, I believe in the dignity of every person. My faith calls me to recognize the humanity in my neighbors, all of my neighbors. Raising ceremonial flags align with the moral responsibility. It is a public expression of welcome. It is an extension of compassion and respect. And as someone who introduced and championed our city's first Pride Month proclamation, I did so because I believe that as a public official, our job is to uplift all individuals, to celebrate everyone who calls this place home. That proclamation was never about politics. It was about belonging. It was about recognizing our neighbors with dignity and respect. And when people feel welcome, they engage more fully in our civic life. They attend events, volunteer, support local businesses, serve on city commissions. Mayor, can I? Thank you. City commissions and help shape the direction of our community. Inclusion strengthens civic engagement. It builds trust. It builds belonging. It builds us. And as we move forward, this council has an opportunity and a responsibility to work together now to create a solution that celebrates the people who make up the city. I will be introducing a resolution to address this because this cannot wait. We need to address this properly so our policies reflect our shared values and our shared commitment to belongings. And as a community, we must recognize, see, and respect all individuals who call this place home. We should be celebrating all our stories, all of our cultures, and all of our identities, because they are already woven. They're woven into the fabric of our city. These flags do not divide us. They remind us of what we share. We all belong here, because our diversity is not something that cities should hide. City Hall is the people's house, all the people's house. Let's ensure that what flies above it reflects the full story of who we are, and thank you for your time.
Father Hostler.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm Josh Hostler. My pronouns are he, him. I am the priest at the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd on 312th. In my work as a parish priest, there's always a list of folks I'm paying more attention to than others. Now, I care about all my parishioners, but some people have more needs at any given time than others do. So they're the ones I focus on. And that list is always shifting and changing. Now, life in the church would be a lot easier, I suppose, if everyone came to me with equal needs, but that will never be the case. A lot of people come to Good Shepherd because they've been badly hurt in other churches, excluded, reviled, told that their gay child is not welcome. I have a big heart for these folks. And in the Beatitudes, Jesus lifts up those who have been excluded and reviled and calls them the holiest people in the room. So those who have been historically excluded are the people I most need to care for and welcome right now. And not once when I've been doing this have I said to myself, oh, by going out of my way to include this person, I'm excluding others. Yet I hear that flag supports one group, not other groups. It's not inclusive. Whom, may I ask, does the pride flag exclude? I'm straight, cisgender, married with an adult child. I'm a poster boy for what others, not me, might call conservative family values. Yet I know that the pride flag includes me too. And more importantly, it includes a host of people I love. How about the Juneteenth flag? I'm white, but am I white? More accurately, I appear white to others based on some nebulous idea of whiteness. Because you know what? Whiteness is only a thing a bunch of people decided they wanted to be so that other people would not be. And since I understand this, I see clearly that there is nothing about the Juneteenth flag that excludes me. The whole point is to include those who have been excluded for so many centuries. Councilman McDaniel said of the practice of flying various flags, we are allowing the government to choose winners and losers. Are we really? Who loses when we fly these flags? Bigots? Okay. Let them feel uncomfortable for a while then. When it comes to the fundamental dignity of every human being, we don't get to agree to disagree, not when the flag of the United States flies to remind us that all are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. There is a massive battle going on in this country, said Councilmember McDaniel. He's right. There's a massive battle over who gets to be in the United States. There's a massive battle over who gets to have appropriate and adequate medical care, who gets to feed their families, and who gets a Great Gatsby-style ballroom and total legal immunity. I guess I have to stop, but thank you.
Anna Patrick.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and public. I am here to speak to the topic that we've heard about tonight. And I'd like to start by, it's going to be a little vague, but I can tell you that I speak from experience. Over several years, I've witnessed in our community people being told to take a back seat, sit down, shut up, because other people have a voice. And I don't think that's what this is supposed to be about for Federal Way. I think it's harmful, it divides people up, it creates winners and losers. And when we have a flag that's being raised with that premise, I think it's harmful to Federal Way. I can tell you that people have been told to get in the back of the line because they don't identify as a certain group. And I've seen this in the past month. Pretty blatant. People with needs being told to get in the back of line because they identify as a certain person and not the other. And you'd be shocked. I'm not going to say it out loud beyond that. And I've been told, or I've witnessed actually, people saying, you can't be in the same space as the gay community if you're Catholic. Yeah, I've seen that happen over the past couple years. And I've seen people regarding House Bill 5375, that Mr. Patrick mentioned, this was a law that was passed to discriminate against Catholics. And the Catholics, the sacraments of the Catholic faith were being discriminated against. Lawyers had privilege to keep things private still, but the Catholic priests did not. And that was thrown out in court for good reason. These things should be solved in court. Flying flags can be very performative when they're not. And I'd like to end with, the show that we saw tonight, the Kashama Sawant campaign that we saw earlier. I'd like to name that cultural manipulators or propagandists when they strategically use identity, language, and symbols to control narratives or policy outcomes. Factionalists, those who divide groups along identity lines to consolidate power for their own side, winners and losers. So let's think about that if we consider why we're flying the flag. Is it for celebratory reasons or is it for these other purposes? And is that really helping Federal Way? Let's keep the emotions out of it. Let's focus on policy. Let's make sure we take care of things in the courts. Thank you.
All right. Heather, do we have any other public comment?
We do not.
Okay. All right. This is actually why we're here. We are here to listen to you. This was really one of the most spirited. And actually, I want to say thank you very much. I think everybody stayed within the, we had a little bit of, course correction we had to make. But everybody up here is glad you came and spoke to us. We very much appreciate it. I'm sure this conversation is going to continue. We do have a big agenda to move forward. But on behalf of everybody here, I want to say thank you for being here. This conversation will continue. This is the first time in city history I think we've had two frogs appear. So thank you for being here, and we'll continue to have this dialogue. Council President?
Mayor, when are we going to continue the dialogue? I mean,
well, I think
we need to talk about, they have concerns, we need to talk. May I talk? Thank you. We've heard you. We know that we're all coming from different walks of life. We're all coming from different backgrounds and different ideas in life. But we're all here together to work for the better good, for the common good, to be proud of our home. And so I really want us to work out our differences, and I really want to talk about how we're going to move forward. So we don't just reverse a decision, we talk about it. And so there will be a time when we're going to discuss this again, but I'm just wondering when.
Well, we have our retreat coming up, and then I think that'd be a good time. But ultimately, this is up to the council to determine when that conversation will occur. We have agenda setting meetings. You and I will be at one tomorrow, in which we set the agendas for both the study sessions and the council meetings. But we're going to hear from council members about that. Council, would you entertain a brief recess for 7 minutes, as the hour is 7 minutes enough for? Well, yeah. Well, I guess we will see. Well, we were in. Is that okay, everybody? General consensus. We were in recess for a period of 7 minutes to be able to take care of business and just recalibrate. So we'll be back in 7 minutes. Cleared out. Yeah. Yeah, maybe Steve, Steve, can you see if the council president's in the hallway? We need to get moving. Whoops. All right. Is she on her way, Steve?
She was right here. Oh, yeah.
Bring them in.
But keep my conversations down.
Exactly, that's right. Now that's exactly. Now we have a problem. All right. Okay, we are back on the record. We are back. We are now on the consent agenda, and we have a number of items. Item C has been pulled. I'll get to that in a moment. These items have gone through committee, can be passed all at once, or I'll ask after I read through them if an individual council member wants an item pulled. Item A, approve the minutes for the October 21st, 2025 City Council special meeting and regular meeting. Item B, approve the AP vouchers, September 1st to the 30th and of this year, and approve payroll vouchers, September 1 through the 30th of this year. Item C, the monthly financial report, which will be pulled. Councilmember McDaniel has indicated his desire to do so. We'll talk about that as item C is pulled. Item D, the annual work plan from the Senior Advisory Commission. Item E, the contract amendment for the SCORE Jail Services Agreement. It says AG 23-009. Item F, the interlocal contract with the Puyallup City Jail. Item G, the interlocal contract, cellular lines migration, Verizon to AT&T FirstNet. And item H, purchase replacement computers and peripherals. Item C has been pulled. Are there any other items the council would want pulled for separate consideration? Okay. Council President Kochmar.
Thank you, Mayor. I move approval of items A and B and D through H.
Second. Been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those matters pass unanimously. We have Steve Groom, our finance director, and my understanding is that this went through committee. And could you please provide the committee report or the PowerPoint presentation that was presented at committee?
I will. I understand it's not exactly what council member wants. I'll show you. I'll give you what I do have, and we can go from there.
Yeah, and I did let her know that she's able to pull it up, so we can go to that too.
Okay.
Okay.
The monthly financial report comes to the FedRec once a month. The purpose of this report is because the council approves an adopted budget at the beginning of the year, and every single month we bring a report that shows how the city's finances are progressing. This is a summary level. As we all know, we're experiencing roughly 3% inflation. It's not getting down to the 2% that the Federal Reserve is looking to get it down to, but for 28 months, we've been experiencing roughly 4% inflation, between 2 and 3 point something. Our sales tax revenue is our principal concern. Every month, starting back in January, we have been reporting how we've been doing, and it's a good news, bad news thing. Our sales tax is doing better than last year, and it's underperforming budget. To orient you to the graph, the big wedge on the lower right shows the red line shows the accumulated sales tax for the current year. The blue line is how the sales tax accumulated in the prior year, and the gray is our budget. And I also have a little bit of optimism. If I look at the current year's sales tax remittances every single month in the gold, I've circled the ones that are better than last month, because what we want to know is, if we're missing budget, are we getting worse or are we getting better? And in the last 4 months, we have seen better performance compared to last year. And if you look at the graph on the left, those blue bars, those show the accumulated first 8 months of each of the prior years, and we are just a touch better. The shortfall in the current year is $767,000. That's about 6% unfavorable to budget. Unrestricted utility tax, however, we did get a bump 1 month ago. You can see that. That was a one-time. This one is the single. Now, I'm sorry, if I could just go back. The sales tax graph that I showed you had a scale of $22 million. The reason that's important is because I'm showing you the most material revenues. And then when we get to utility tax, that's the next largest one. The scale here is up to 16 million, and this one is performing better to budget. It's currently $500,000 or 5% favorable to budget. Property tax is the next largest material revenue that we have. You can see that the scale is $14 million. The red line shows that we get our property tax in uneven installments. We're currently at a place in the year where the next 2 months, we're going to be receiving about $6 million in cash from the county because they will have collected on property tax revenue. That also matters when I'm looking at interest revenue. Receiving cash at uneven times matters. We receive our property tax principally in October and November, and then we have our debt payments that are due in December. And we expect that one to achieve budget by the end of the year. Real estate excise tax, we have been looking at this the entire year. Every single month it has fallen short of budget. This is a restricted revenue. It gets its own fund. And so in this case, we have the ability to defer the timing of projects that it supports, principally in public works. Real estate excise tax has underperformed, and we expect it to improve when mortgages fall down. And so the next question is when do we think mortgages are going to fall? The Federal Reserve has been lowering rates incrementally, very, very slowly. So that means that the interest rates that are a function of that, the mortgages being the ones that we're most interested in, still are very slow to come down, and it looks like it's going to be the case for a while. Permit fees revenue, just like sales tax. Now here the scale, we're getting down into the $4 million range. We are doing better than prior year, and we're doing underperforming budget. And when I go to look at the graph to look month to month, it becomes a graph that's just impossible to look at. So I have circled 5 out of the last 8 months have been better than prior year. But this is confusing enough that you just look to the graph on the left, and you can see that we are doing better cumulatively compared to last year. And you can see a trend, and we know our town. We have to know how we think construction and the permitting activity is. It is falling short on budget, but it is better than prior year. Interest revenue, here we have a scale of $4 million, so we're getting down to the lesser revenues. Interest is falling short. $394,000 is the shortfall, although I am going to be getting more cash in from our property tax in the next 2 months. Lodging tax revenue, this has a very tiny scale, and the only reason to show this, it's a restricted revenue, but this is an economic indicator. Just like sales tax, lodging tax also tells us how one of our principal sectors, not just hospitality, but restaurants and the other businesses in that part of our economy. This long since recovered from the pandemic. It's been getting better every year. And so this is just another piece of our good news as we look at how we believe our city is doing. Looking at our cash balances, I have a dotted, this graph shows the cash balances going back since July of 19. It started out as a 5-year graph. Yellow is what's in our checking account, green is our liquidity that we put in the state pool, and blue has been the investment activity that we started in October of 2021. That has resulted in quite a bit of interest revenue, and it's made it much more forecastable and predictable. The red bars That's the cash that we received when we issued a bond for the construction of the maintenance and operations facility. And as we get through the season where we spend down the last of the ARPA money, when we spend down the last of the bond proceeds, we're going to return to that where that red dotted line is. That's going to be about $80 million, and you can see we have a ways to get there. That's going to get us back to what I would call normal, if you would. So the principal general fund revenues, 4 out of 5 are negative. We have a shortfall of $1 million. This is of concern. We've been talking about it every month at FedRAC. We talk about it internally at staff. We talk about it with the mayor and the city administrator. The biggest single reason that we have to have resilience in the city is the reserves that I showed you when we had the annual comprehensive financial report a couple months ago. I showed how in 2024 our fund balances were higher, our cash was higher, our revenues were up. So revenue shortfall does require that we begin to draw on our reserves. It is a concern. It's not something that we're taking lightly, but yet compared to prior year, every single one of them is up. We think it's improving, and we think that we've got some optimism for the city. So the outlook for managing the budgets is all departments manage their expenses as appropriated, but we watch revenue closely. We're watching for surprises, and any new needs we take to a waiting list. We don't have the ability to greenlight any of them, and we're also mindful of our existing obligations. That's the report that I brought to FedRAC, so that gives us the context, and Councilmember McDaniel, I'll hand it off to you because you pulled this. How can I answer your questions?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this works out pretty nicely. I actually wanted to review what the actual report looks like. I've had multiple emails, most of us have, from a gentleman named Derek Pruitt over the years, and he is actually turning 90 tomorrow. And he came in at 89 and pretty much schooled me on some of the finances that I did not know about when I first came on council. So one of the things is to talk about some of the things he had mentioned. And the second one is I have heard in multiple discussions, in debates and stuff, that people want to know better understanding of how to read the financial report. So this is the last time I'll be talking about it in council, so I figured today would be a good time to just run through it and give people a basic understanding of, when they look through it, what they're actually looking at. There's quite a bit of stuff on there that I don't believe people understand the back end to, and there's some numbers that just don't make sense because we've talked about, they're not there at the moment. You asked me a serious question of what I need to make decisions. Some of those are going to be discussed tonight, and some of them are going to relay to two of the members who are out in the council, two future council members sitting out there right now. So a lot of this is for you two to understand exactly what you guys are stepping into. There is not a city in a state of Washington that I know of who does not have some kind of budget issue. It is just a fact of life. Something that I did not want to believe when I first got on council, but after talking to more cities, it is a reality. And the other thing I've learned is that one-time bailouts seems to be a big deal, of getting a one-time payment hit, an interest payment, a grant, a loan. They are crucial to part of the budget. So I had asked if we could have it pulled up to share the screen so that people can actually see part of the agenda packet starting on page 95. And I just wanted to go through it with you, Director, and kind of discuss what we're looking at so people understand when they look at it what they're reading and what they're seeing.
Is there any way to make it a little bit bigger, Heather? Can you zoom in at all? Oh, that's better. Okay, and we can move it around as you need.
So what I'll do, Steve, is I'll just walk through how I look at it, and I'd like you to correct me or add any input that is not visible at the moment or knowledge that you have that I just lack at the moment. Basically, we're looking at the report. Top section is going to go over general and street fund, which is probably our two largest funds. General fund can be used for most things, where street fund is strictly used for, is it overlays? Is that correct? All right. You start off with providing us with information about it in a written form, either it's favorable or unfavorable year to date, and you provide that information percentage-based too also. I love the charts. The charts then show us revenue stream in and out, and also expenses. So I can look at this moment and understand that our revenues are down a little bit and our expenses are over what we had originally budgeted. So all the numbers we're looking at right now are compared to the budget that we passed recently. Is that correct? Okay.
It is.
Okay, if I scroll down a little bit more, I think the next section will give a little bit more detail on sales tax and CD permits. And then the big piece I like to look at is that section right there. It's very hard for people to read at the moment, but it's the bottom section where it says General and Street Fund Summary. Now, I believe this is not all of the funds. This is strictly what fills the general and street funds. Is that correct?
That's correct. All the other funds come on the next page.
Okay. And then what we're looking at is actuals from 2024. What was originally, the annual budget is what we actually budgeted. The annual actual is what we actually collected for that particular fund. And then the year-to-date is when we do it a month-to-month, it gives us a comparable of what the previous year was at that point in time compared to this point in time.
So we can compare it to the prior year, same time
Okay,
period.
just want to make sure. And then 25 is exactly the same, just the recent time frame.
That's correct.
Okay, and then we're looking at year-to-dates. These are differences between our current revenue stream that's brought in compared to budget. Is that correct?
That is.
Anything in a bracket would be below budgeted numbers?
Should be an unfavorable.
Unfavorable, thank you. And then basically to the right-hand side of that is the percentage of what the unfavorability is compared to the budget.
Right.
Okay. Now, the one that catches most people, and myself especially, there is a lot of it we're not hitting budget, but I've also learned that that is a secondary issue. It's more of we can move things around if necessary, if funds do not come in. But the one that really catches me is other revenue. That one currently has a negative 1.65, but that is actually not the true number at the end of the year. What actually is going to be applied to that number, that other revenue, that will actually make that a more accurate reading when people look at this report?
The biggest piece is going to be our end-of-year interest revenue accrual because we get bond payments every single month. So there's going to be 5 months after December 31st that really are earned in the current year. And that's going to be a big piece that's going to, and it was a negative this year in January. It's going to be a positive in December.
Yeah.
It's
So
just accrual accounting.
I understood. It showed a 1.6. What is the realistic amount of money that would be coming into that fund to balance that out?
If interest is the biggest one, right now we're unfavorable $500,000. So the delta is going to be about $1 million. So it's going to probably end up about $500,000 negative.
Okay, so that will bring it up $1 million from 1.6 to roughly
Right.
6.
That's exactly right.
All right, and then when I look at that, the first thing I look at is I see how much it says total revenue is down compared to budget, but knowing the $1 million difference makes a little bit of a difference that I said most people really look through this do not get to understand that part.
And then property tax is also a difference. Although we're comparing like periods in the prior year, it doesn't come in evenly 1/12 every month.
Understood on that one, too. Now, the one thing that I would like to see in the future, and was something we had talked about, is the other revenues and actual breakout, so that people understand what makes up that number. I know that it's currently not part of the report, but I'd like to see that, so that when I'm no longer able to ask those questions, I can read the report myself at home and be able to get that understanding.
Sure, and I have to balance between how much detail am I going to show you and how much are you at the policy level going to be willing to read. So I'm trying to give you executive summary level stuff.
Oh,
I'm always interested. I'm always able to give you detail.
Understood, appreciate that. Now, if we scroll down from that one, we're looking at other funds financial history. Now, this starts to fall into the utility tax and REIT, which is sometimes some of the largest revenue streams that we have into it outside of the
Sure.
general sales tax.
Everything here is going to be restricted for special purposes.
Now, I think a lot of people get confused when they look at that first set of revenues. You've got utility tax 3 times. I don't think a lot of people understand that utility tax has 3 different breakdowns.
Mr. Purton does.
Oh, he does. He educated me, so that's how I know. So with that said, there is 3 different utility tax. How many of these are restricted that cannot be used in the general funds and must be isolated? Are restricted for fundage?
The 10% solid waste is restricted and the 1.75% is restricted. The base is not restricted.
Got you. And then we also list a few other things, real estate excise tax. I did not know what that was when I was on council originally. I've now understood that's when we sell and when real estate is sold and purchased. Now, does that also include when we have new building, new construction?
No, that falls under property tax. Well, unless it's sold. And this is only sales transactions of real estate.
Gotcha.
We get 1% to 0.5% pieces, I believe.
Yes. All right. And then underneath that, we're going through kind of the expenditures to replicate those actual revenue streams. Now, as we look down this one, I do not believe farther down it shows it. One of the things that, I'm more of a detail-oriented person, is it does not show what the actual fund balances are for each one of the different departments and something. One of the things you asked is what would make it sometimes easy for council. If I was able to look at the fund balances and see that certain departments were either using more or less resources, that would definitely indicate something for me to look at. And the other thing is also revenue.
In about 10 more pages, you're going to see a complete page that's a wall of numbers. It's a table. It used to be at the very beginning of the report when Aday was city finance director. Now I put it at the back. And that shows the entire universe of all of our funds, beginning funding balance, revenues, expenses, and ending
Gotcha.
fund balance.
Now, would that show me the expenses for community services or the expenses for jail services or anything like that?
Fund by fund.
Okay. Then after that one, we go into the actual graphs, which I really find to be useful. Sales revenue is our largest revenue stream. One of the things I'd like to make sure the council knows, the future one, is of the last 24 months, sales been down 22 or 24. That's something that I really think is something that needs to be thought of, and some ideas thrown out there so what we can do maybe to adjust that. I do know that we were favorable to last year on physical numbers, but I believe those numbers do not include inflation at the moment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So again, I love how you do the chart. I think it makes it a lot easier to read. You are showing us the different construction locations. At one point, you were able to show us, and I know it's a bigger lift to do, you were able to show us the locations that were actually bringing in revenue stream. I am curious to know how the Costco area is doing now that the small Walmart has shut down, if we're seeing a pickup in sales through the larger Walmart, or if people have started to look at other places.
And that data is knowable. I haven't had the staff time to be able to do it.
Totally understood, yeah. Business license, I found this one, I think it would be nice if we changed it up a little bit. The charts on the top actually represent new businesses that have opened licenses. I thought that was overall businesses in general. And then the number below with the finances is actually how many businesses have been pretty much paid the bills. I like that it's no longer a twice a year, it's an actual monthly established fund, so it's a lot easier to read on that one. But I think it would be easier if you would add to it that the top section is new businesses, licenses that were issued, because it looks like we're doing better on that one. And the bottom one is actual business revenue, new and people who are renewing their licenses. Dropping down to the community development and permits, this one, again, I find to be very interesting and useful. This is when people are doing new home builds. Does that also include if someone's doing mechanical, electrical, and all those things?
I think so. Can I ask a friend? I'm getting a yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure this encapsulates everything that happens in that area.
Thank you, Keith.
And that one is kind of self-explanatory. The only thing that I felt was interesting that would have been of use is knowing what kind of either permits were pulled or what kind of, was it electrical versus plumbing versus mechanical, kind of knowing where we're seeing trends so that we can determine if it's something the council can make some decisions on to
Sure.
either
Now, I'm not
improve
sure
or
if I have that in the finances, but as a team, we can give you the operational side from other departments.
Yeah, I dug it through a different place, but it exists. We already talked about REIT. Like I said, I think that's great. I wish people would read that one a little bit more and understand that that is a huge revenue stream for us. And now, is that restricted? And if so, what is the restrictions for the REIT?
REIT is restricted principally for parks and public works, buildings and projects.
So REIT has to be used for capital construction, so it can be used for exactly that. So construction of roads, construction of parks, which is principally what it found is the two CIP projects. It can also be used to repay bonds for capital projects. So not GO bonds, but bonds that were pulled for a capital project.
Yeah. So if we see a chunk of money in there as a council, we cannot assume that money can be reallocated to other departments or other projects.
It most likely cannot.
Right. Just wanted to share that information. Thank you.
And EJ raises a good point, because every single construction of the facilities that we've done for the Performing Arts Center, the Community Center, our maintenance and operations facility, all of those are paid through REIT, because those are capital projects.
Understood. But if REIT takes a hit, then the funds have to be found from other places for paying, because debt's number one, right?
Yes, EJ's projects have been delayed as a result because the debt is fixed.
Yeah, so the debt's fixed. The REIT would be hard pressed to come in less than the debt amount. So really what gets pushed is the construction projects that we're currently doing.
And that's the biggest lever that the city has for the most part, is starting dates for projects for the expenditure side of the business?
Effectively.
If we scroll down to the utility taxes, I was shocked to see that pagers were still listed on there. I'm glad to know that we've made $5 off it, but I find that to be interesting. I hope people actually look at what actually comes on.
If I hid the detail, you would find it.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would. I found that one to be pretty well explanatory. The next one is a little bit more confusing sometimes, and it comes down to the 3 different utility taxes.
This is exactly the 3, and it describes each of them separately, how much they are, what they're for.
Correct. And then on this one right here, the biggest thing I want to point out is the big jump we had is a one-time payment, right?
Yes.
All right. If we didn't have the one-time payment, would we still be close to budget on that particular item?
We would, but remember, when we did our first budget amendment this year in April or May, this was coming in above budget. So we actually moved the budget up because it was coming in favorable. So it's that new raised budget that it's tracking to.
Yeah. Now, on utility taxes, if my utilities go up, because we get a percentage of it, our utilities then, our percentage, not percentage goes up, but our actual revenue stream will go up, gross revenue, right?
That's exactly, yes, just like when retail sales rise in the city, we get more sales tax.
So
Same thing.
So anytime power or electric, power or water or sewer or garbage, anytime those go up, the revenue stream for the city will actually increase.
That's correct.
It's one of the safer bets that we have for revenue.
That's
Okay.
correct.
I'll make sure I say that. And if you scroll down to hotels and lodging, now that money is actually brought in from the 1% that people are charged when they stay in a hotel, is that correct?
Correct.
And then that money is restricted, but is given out usually as grants for tourism?
It can be used for several different purposes. It has to go through the Lodging Tax Committee, where we have a balanced committee of hoteliers and recipients. It can be used for tourism marketing. It can be used for the operations and maintenance of the Performing Arts Center, because that's a city-owned tourism-related facility.
Okay, so those are all aspects that those can fall into for usage.
That's right.
And that one's above, which means we're actually having an increase in tourism, staying at the hotels and stuff.
Sure, when the hotels thrive, that fund does better.
Okay, then I'm gonna scroll down to red light cameras. Now, this one right here, I know that these are strictly supposed to be used for safety, and it looks like our citizens are being a lot safer. But I still would like to point out to the upcoming council members that we'll probably have to look at finding some kind of way to make an adjustment for that $970,000. I'm assuming that I do not have the ability to look too far back past '24, but I'm curious to know what the trend is for that one. If it was just a budgeting, we budgeted too high, or if it's realistically that people are just becoming safer on those locations.
We have found that they're actually driving more safely, right. Now, the revenue shortfall, this is a separate fund, so that traffic safety fund does have a fund balance that's absorbing the difference right now.
Okay, and I assume that most of the things that have a shortfall at the moment, the funds are absorbing what needs to be. Do we have any funds that are currently at or close to the minimums?
Probably, yes. Because we balanced our adopted budget, making sure that we would make those minimums, so all of them have very small
Slight
margins, I would say.
increases? Okay. And then the next section is going to be the police department overtime. I believe this is lower because we have now actually hired more police officers, so I think that's kind of what's balanced that one out. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then jail services, they're kind of what they are at the moment. I know that our populations stay pretty consistent on that one, but we've also increased that one, so I think we'll stay within that one. This one does not list all the jails, but I do know that in the vouchers, you do list the jails, so it makes it easier if someone really wants to dig through the data to find it. I appreciate that. And then we go through the community center, Dumas Bay, and also performing arts. I think people need to take note that there is debt on each one of these, but it lists the thing, and we pay the debt once a year correctly in December?
We pay interest payments in June and then principal and interest in December.
Okay, so twice a year we make a payment on
Right.
every one of
The
these?
principal hits once a year.
Now, the Federal Community Center with all the construction, it did not increase the actual debt on the building, did it not? Did it?
No.
Okay, so that is, whatever the debt says here, it includes all the construction we've had and everything we built. Okay. And then I think the last part of it is going to be fund activities, which you had mentioned, so we can look at that one.
That's the one that'll give you the ending fund balance as of September 30th for every fund in the city.
Gotcha. Now, what this does not say is it does not, well, it does show expenses. I'll have to review this one again to see if it has what I was looking for or not. I do appreciate having that on there. And then we have the ARPA, which will last as long as it does, and then we also have the investments. Now, I noticed our investments are going to miss target this year. Do we have any hopes that next year we'll be able to be closer to target, or are we looking at the same kind of, keep going, please, the same kind of trajectory for next year?
That's a good question. I reforecast all the time, and right now, it could be a little bit short. And it depends on the timing of our cash, on our capital spending, a lot of things.
Now, when we had the additional money for the Maintenance Operations Center.
Yes.
Did we, I know that's restricted, even the interest is restricted to pay back on the debt. Did we then apply that to some T-bills or anything, or was that kept outside of the investment fund?
The interest on the bond issuance proceeds gets added to the project. EJ has to spend it on the maintenance facility.
But we did utilize the funds while we had them hands-on?
Yes.
Okay. I do have to commend you guys on that one. That's a big piece of money that we've been able to increase.
Yep.
I think that runs through pretty much everything I wanted to go forward. Like I said, if somebody wants to look at it now, they can go to YouTube and see someone running through the budget. And I appreciate you taking the time and council taking the time for having me do this.
Councilmember, you have been the most engaged council member on our finances. I appreciate you giving a tutorial for the new incoming members, but I promise I will still give them an orientation, and I'm happy to work with any of the new members on FedRAC. Thank you.
I appreciate you taking my questions. Thank you.
Councilmember, would you like to move approval?
Yes. I move approval of consent agenda item C.
Second.
It's been a motion. A second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, matter passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Everybody?
Mayor, can I make one comment?
Yes.
Two things. One, it's Paul's birthday, so we should all be aware of that.
Yes.
And thank you.
Happy birthday.
So you wish him happy birthday. But I think one thing that this whole presentation brought forward is when you're looking at the numbers, you got to dig in deep to see where we're at. And as a council, we do need to be looking at the last of this year and saying, do we need to make some changes? Because the numbers are not trending like we budgeted. Staff and you and your staff, Mayor, have done a great job of keeping things rolling. But that's something that really needs to be on the forefront of the next 6 weeks. And I don't think it can really wait until a discussion in January, because we might have to look at this thing, because when you look at the high numbers, down $1,154,000, and you got 800,000 back because we got that one-time fee that we hadn't really budgeted for, which is a blessing we got it. I mean, that's a number that says we're better than most right now. And Paul says he's talked to a lot of people, I have too. We're not in as problems as others, but we got to make sure we don't get to where they are. So that would be my comment, and thank you, Paul, for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you. Those conversations are ongoing, actually. I hear that, we hear that, and we'll get on it. And we'll share that with the council. Oh, Councilmember Honda?
Thank you. I go to a lot of regional meetings, not just here in King County, but meetings around the country. And every single city is talking about their deficit and what they're doing. And some cities have been working on this for over a year. And even local cities, there's a city very close to us that is $20 million short. And there's several cities that are 10 million, 15 million. They're talking about it, they're working on it, they're working with their council, they've been working with their council for a while. And it's just something it should not be a surprise to our citizens. It shouldn't be a surprise to the people who live and work here, but we do need to be aware that it's happening, and it's not just Federal Way, it is everyone. But we do need to have the conversations sooner than later.
We don't have a deficit. We have shortfalls in projected revenue. And we do not have a deficit by any stretch, so.
And budgets are not just about money, they're about priorities. And if one of your priorities is financial stability, financial resilience, then making a priority of the reserves is a good thing to do. And that's something that we want to talk every time we have a budget.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's move on to item 6, council business. This is the program year 2026 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG Annual Action Plan. Angelina, and Alan Bipsy. How do you pronounce your last name?
PC.
PC, thank you. Community Services Manager. Angelina?
Thank you, Mayor Farrell. Good evening, Mayor Farrell. Good evening, council members, and also Council President Kochmar. So the policy question that is before you tonight is, should City Council approve the 2026 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan? We've had 2 public hearings. One was held on October 14th and October 21st. This was in line with meeting with the Community Development Block Grant requirements of holding 2 public hearings. During that time, we did not receive any public comments from both of those hearings. We also gave opportunities for written public comments, which was to be accepted through Monday, October 27th, and we did not receive any written comments as well. So the options that are before you to be considered, option 1 is to approve the 2026 CDBG Annual Action Plan and propose Human Service Commission SURF recommendations. The second option is that you do not approve the 2026 CDBG Annual Action Plan and propose Human Services SURF recommendations and provide staff direction. The recommendation is that the Human Services Commission recommends approval of the 2026 CDBG Annual Action Plan as presented, and that the mayor recommends approving this 2026 CDBG Annual Action Plan as presented, and again, as recommended by the Human Service Commission.
Councilor Honda?
I would like to thank the Human Services Commission. We have 2 members sitting here for their work. You do really hard work, and you give us good recommendations, and I appreciate the time you put into it and the fact that you're volunteers. It means a lot. Thank you.
Here, here. Councilor Adobe?
Yeah, I just have a comment about the plan. And I want to thank everybody that's worked on it. And I haven't shared this with anybody. I've just been thinking about it after our last presentation. It seems to me that although the plan looks really, really good, I think we're missing a couple things that maybe it should have been tweaked. And this is late in the game, and I'm sorry I'm bringing it up, but if I don't, forever hold my peace. The discussion that was brought forward by Habitat for Humanity, where we funded them and they could do, I think it was 45 homes for repair and do some other things. I almost think that we should have had more money there, because housing right now is a really big deal. And I don't know which of the things I would take some of the money from. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to go over that right now. And this will probably pass and we won't have the opportunity. But I just think that maybe we didn't miss it, but I think there should have been more money to help elderly repair of homes so people can stay in their home and the roof doesn't fall in and we become homeless or become underserved. And again, I don't have the suggestions where I would be, but I think if I was to do this and we were not at the day right now doing it, I would probably vote against it, not because I'm against it at all, but I think there could have been some reallocation.
Thank you. Councilor Honda?
So last spring or summer, I worked with a local family who needed help from Habitat for Humanity, and they ended up not being able to get the help because of lack of funding. And if they didn't fix the issue that was facing them, they were going to possibly lose their housing. And so I would certainly agree if we had any possible funding to put into that. We're trying to keep people in their homes, and if their homes need to have repairs, and these are repairs that are really necessary. These are vital repairs that this organization does. It would be great to find that funding eventually and add to it.
Council President?
Well, I'm just wondering, with both of you, with what you're saying, since we've already decided on the allocation, when can we decide again on how to reprioritize housing?
So currently, this is for 2026 funding. This is for the future. And until we know what's going to happen with CDBG, we'll need to wait in terms of making that determination. There are contingency funds that could be reconsidered and that the Human Services Commission could revisit, but this is for...
Well, that's what I was going to suggest. Do you know how much you have in contingency?
So
that
in our
hasn't been
contingency,
You
we
have,
have,
you have the list of what we're funding again, you know?
sure, I can read it off to you.
Can you put it
Unfortunately,
up, can you put it up on the screen?
I
No?
am not able to put it up on
Okay.
the screen, I'm sorry, but I can read it off to you if that's
Well,
okay.
Well, I'm actually more interested in, because they've already allocated it, and and you just said you didn't want to go against that,
Yeah.
but I'm more interested in what the contingency is, or the extra money you have that hasn't been allocated.
So right now, when we look at 2026, we're talking about $132,905.
That has not been allocated,
Correct.
or that was returned or not.
It hasn't been allocated.
Expended
That
for
would be,
whatever
we
reason.
would be looking at adding that when we go through the process again for next year, for 2027.
Sure, so what I'm hearing my colleagues say is that they would like to have that prioritized for housing.
And we could do that. This is part of the housing, or what we would call the Community Economic Revitalization Fund. So that includes affordable housing.
So, is it all right if I say one more thing?
Oh.
So now that it's up on our screen, the numbers are there. I don't know, I look at it, and they all gave us great, our staff did a great presentation, and they got all that. I've just been thinking, housing, rainy today, all sorts of different things, and the talk that they said there was many people that come and ask for house assistance, and they can't help them fix it. But, you know, this may get everybody mad, but, you know, when we look at 6 and 8, which is for business development, the way I read it, are we better off to do business development, or are we better off to keep people in their homes? And this is all the money we're gonna have, and there's not gonna be more money. The mayor's not gonna come to this council or next year's council and say, we got more money, let's do it. And none of these people are gonna get this money now and spend it until we get it from the government in, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 3 months, whatever it is. But anyway, that's just my point. I mean,
Thank you.
it's on to vote tonight. I'm not sure it's earth-shattering that we have to make the decision on who we're giving the money, because we don't even have it yet. But maybe you'll say it is, but that's just my thought.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to point out to you, that if you decide to look at items 1 through 8.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I just picked some numbers because they had $100,000 bills.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, if you look at the items 1 through 8, if you decide to make changes within those categories, we will have to start over with having the public hearing again.
Well, that's an important point.
And Mayor, can I add in here as well? So, and the city has, so it may sound like this is a long ways away because it's for 26 funding, but the city has received kind of black marks from HUD for not being timely in the expenditures of CDBG funds. So I have concern if we're delaying the start of this even further by having to go back through the process that's already been executed between staff and the Human Services Commission. So I just want to put that on the record and make council aware that we have received notice from HUD over the past couple years for not being timely in spending the money quick enough.
But I thank you for saying that, but I think it's also important for the council to have a meaningful opportunity to engage on the issues and grapple with the issues. Councilmember Walsh?
Yeah, I was just, I mean, obviously, I think that we're going to approve this tonight, but it is a quandary. I mean, with the things that are for small business development, that's one of the things that is more the upstream things to help people keep from getting into that position to begin with. And so there's a very good argument both ways. And I'm not sure what the answer is either.
There is no right answer.
There is no right answer, but I'd say that with the contingency funds, that would be wise to the contingency funds become available, put them in that direction.
All right, Councilmember Honda? Thank you.
So, thank you. To spend the contingency funds, does it have to go through the Human Services Commission?
I would like it to go through the Human Services Commission, just because we would also need to know whether or not Habitat can absorb that amount of money. Typically, when they submit a proposal, they will let us know how much that they can basically absorb, and the number of homes and households that they can support. So that if we give them more money, and just what Keith said in terms of issues around timeliness, that HUD expects us to be timely on the spending of these funds, and they can't do that, that would also have an impact on the city in terms of getting another, what I would say, black mark, that we do not meet that timeliness. And that results in having reductions with community development block grant funds for the following year.
When Habitat talked with us, did they not say that they had a waiting list?
They did say they had a waiting list, and again, we could have a conversation with them about this, but I want to basically caution you that if we do look at that and they cannot absorb that,
Okay.
that is something that needs to be taken in consideration, because it does have an impact on, as I said earlier, about HUD's timeliness when it comes to spending CDBG funding.
And what does it mean to have a black mark? What is HUD?
Basically, HUD has 1.5 is the percentage in terms of how much needs to be spent, 1.5 of the allocation that needs to be spent within a calendar year. Sometimes that will go over into another year. So if an organization that is receiving CDBG funds cannot meet that requirement, then the ratio in terms of what HUD would look at by November 2nd, if we're not at 1.5 or less, then they will send a letter and then would want us to look at like a corrective action plan, if you will, to let them know how we're going to internally look at improving the timeliness of funding being spent.
Okay, thank you.
Council, if you want another shot at this,
But no, my last comment is as Susan said, I would like to commend, I mean, we do have a couple of members of the Human Services Commission here. Having served on that commission and having served with them, they do a tremendous amount of work. I think it's one of the hardest working commissions that there is. And thank you for your work on it. And, it's not easy. It's not easy, and there's not a lot of clear-cut answers with it.
And I understand that 100%, and I just bring it up because if it's not on the table, it's not discussed. It has nothing to do with what the Human Services Commission did. I just had heard that they had a waiting list.
Yep.
We've all been talking about housing, affordable housing, keep people in their homes, and but again, we can't keep changing, so I mean.
Well, I think that's a very timely discussion, and I thank you for that. Is there any way we can indicate to the Human Services Commission that we would like to see the contingency fund go toward the housing program with Habitat for Humanity?
I believe
We
so.
can suggest it, and the Human Services can look at it and see if they can do that.
to help with their backlog.
Right, but the idea is to get it out as quickly as possible. The thing is the Section 8 housing, I just read, there was going to be, not only are they losing SNAP funds, food stamps, but they're also losing some money for Section 8 housing.
Correct.
Yeah, and so I would think that, this may be a very 132 isn't going to go very far, but at least it's something for someone.
Councilmember Safa-Dawson.
Yeah, and I think what we need to be mindful of is, we're talking about Habitat and asking them to do more than what they said they were going to do. So I think if this contingency fund is not used by a certain time, this proposal could go out for additional, for other people other agencies to participate, rather than us deciding who should get the money when they're not even asking for it. So
That's correct.
I don't think that's how we should do it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's fine. We can just pass as is. And
And I'll just make one more comment. I agree, from Lydia's standpoint, I agree, we shouldn't be saying it's this group or that group. It needs to be housing if we're gonna do something different. I don't know if Habitat could even do it, or maybe there's somebody else, but that's why I brought it up.
Angelina, you've got a ton of experience in this field. What are your thoughts about listening to this conversation?
Well, I mean, it's relevant, clearly. I mean, we do see reductions in areas, as Councilmember Honda mentioned, as far as rental assistance or Section 8 housing. We're seeing it with the home program for people to be able to become first-time home buyers. That program, I believe, is been significantly reduced. So there is a need, but we also have to think about how best to utilize those resources. And housing is important, just as workforce development and other things as well. So we have to try to balance those priorities.
If I can jump in again, Mayor. So we just did a standalone notice of funds available for $100,000 for food insecurities. So we had this extra money that was from King County, and we went ahead and did a standalone, basically, proposal application for that. I think this could fall into a similar kind of track. And if the council if a majority of the council is clear that we want to do something with this contingency specific to home security or home repair or keeping people in their homes, we can do a separate kind of standalone action for that, send it through Human Services Commission, see who bids on it or who submits proposals. I mean, make sure that those groups that do that are in the know and get notice. And then we don't have to worry about whether they have capacity and resources to actually spend the money timely. So we can evaluate it as a separate standalone thing.
And without a formal motion, council, is there consensus on that type of activity? All right, is there any objection? All right, so let's explore that. Let's talk about that tomorrow. I'll be you and Brian, and get moving on that. All right, Council President?
Thank you. I move approval of the proposed 2026 CDBG Annual Action Plan and authorize the mayor to execute all documents and contracts to implement the plan and corresponding funding agreements with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and grantees.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the matter passes unanimously. All right, item 7, ordinances. We've got a number of second readings, so here we go. Item A, second reading, Council Bill 919, ordinance 2025 to 2026, mid-biennial budget amendment. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 919 Ordinance 2025 to 2026 Mid-Biennial Budget Amendment, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to amending the 2025-2026 biennial budget.
All right, and, Councilor Honda?
When it's time, I have a question on this before I can vote on it.
Okay. Well, before the motion, go ahead, please
Okay.
proceed.
Steve, about 2 months ago, I brought up the pivotal partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and it was going to be put into the budget amendment. Is it in there?
That comes from general fund, and I believe that can be accomplished within the existing general fund.
Okay,
And we have every intention of doing so. We'll do that.
okay, so
Yeah.
can someone in the city
Yeah, we
make sure
can-
that happens?
Yeah, we can follow it up.
Okay. Brian? I think that's you. All right,
All right.
thank you. That's great.
I would
Thank you.
appreciate it. I brought it up like 2 months ago, and they are making their budget, so they need to know where we stand.
Okay, let's outreach. I was actually just at the chamber today, talking to Becca, and this issue came up, so.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay. All right, Council President Coach, actually, you've,
It's me.
I'm sorry? Go ahead.
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
It's been a motion, and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Item B, Council Bill 920. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 920 Ordinance 2026 Property Tax Levy, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to fixing the property tax amount for the year of 2026.
All right. Council President Kochmar.
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Heather?
Councilmember Estefan Dawson?
Aye.
Councilmember McDaniel?
Nay.
Councilmember Honda?
Aye.
Councilmember Tran is absent. Councilmember Walsh?
Aye.
Councilmember Dovey?
Aye.
And Council President Kochmar.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-1.
All right, thank you. Item C, second reading, Council Bill 921. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 921, Ordinance Public Utility Code Amendment, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to public utilities, amending Federal Way Revised Code 19.225.110.
All right, Councilmember Adobe.
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passes unanimously. Item D, Council Bill 922. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 922, ordinance, Title 18 Sewer Connections Code Amendment, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to sewer connection requirements, amending Federal Way Revised Code 1860070.
All right, Councilor Adobe.
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passes unanimously. Item E, Council Bill 923. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 923, ordinance, Title 19 Sewer Connections Code Amendment, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to sanitary sewer connection requirements, adding new sections Federal Way Revised Code 19-105-110 and 19-105-115.
Councilor Adobe.
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passes unanimously. Item F, Council Bill 924. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 924, ordinance electrified fence code amendments, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to electrified fences, amending Federal Way Revised Code 19-050-060 and 19-125-160.
Councilor Adobe.
Yes, I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passed unanimously. All right, item G, Council Bill 925. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 925, ordinance, CE Public Transportation Facilities, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to regulating industrial uses in the commercial enterprise zone, adding Federal Way Revised Code 19-240-025, amending Federal Way Revised Code 19-240-010, 19-240-020, 19-240-030, and 19-240-040, and repealing Federal Way Revised Code 19-240-135.
Councilor Adobe.
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passed unanimously. Item H, Council Bill 926. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 926, ordinance, light rail infrastructure, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to public light rail infrastructure, amending Federal Way Revised Code 19-05160, and adding Federal Way Revised Code 19-195-155, 19-200-155, 19-205-185, 19-225-115, 19-235-085, and 19-240-135.
Councilor Adobe.
Yes, I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passed unanimously. Council President Kuchma, can you,
I move to make the meeting past 10 p.m.
Second.
been
Second.
a motion, a second. That way we can have a little bit of meaningful council reports. So there's been a motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're in business, and now we're on council reports. First meeting of the month, Councilmember Assefa Dawson.
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, tonight's meeting was a little, intense. And I understand why it was so difficult. And I think if you're not part of that community, it's hard for any of us to understand what the people are going through and the emotion that's with it. So it's raw, it's valid. And so I think how people express themselves is just how, it's real for everyone who was up there speaking. And I appreciated everybody's comment and how they felt. But I think it's time that we continue this conversation with empathy and openness. And I think we need to work together and create a new framework. And I don't think it should be dictated or set by council here, but rather have people in Federal Way to come together and have a conversation and see where we want to go with it. So it's not just about this is what we want, this is what we don't want, but I think there should be a policy, and it should be drafted and driven by community need. So our unity is very important, and we may have different definitions for unity, but I think we can still come together and find pathway for us to address this issue, and we need to do it sooner than later, because it's not going to end here. Other things will come up, other things will rise, and how we deal with this could set us for a path forward that is successful. So I would really urge us to do that. And then we did talk about food insecurity and funding earlier. I think it's the same. I would still ask whether or not that money is something we're giving them without them asking for it that level. And we should consider whether or not they have the capacity. And I'm also concerned that there may not be enough supplies out there. So, in staff capacity to take care of our people. And I do want the money to be distributed. But I don't know who else is out there distributing foods. So maybe to make sure that it's not just for certain food banks, because I believe certain churches, other organizations are doing it. So if we could find out who's doing it. And I'm, for example, for the Ethiopian community, we do need culturally relevant type of supplies. So sending them to the food bank is not going to work. So where else would they go to receive the foods that they need? So making sure that we're intentional about that would also be a good idea. And happy birthday to you. And we found out that I'm old enough to be his mom still, so.
Very good.
With that, all right, with that, I end my comment. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Councilor McDaniel.
Thank you. Actually, I'd like to start by saying thanks for at least having the conversation. I know you took some heat for having this conversation, and I don't think people understand that it is important to have the conversations, at least to get to the bottom of things and to understand people's perspectives. I appreciate everybody who came today, who spoke. I listened to everything, and I heard what you guys are saying. We don't always see eye to eye and don't agree on a thing, but if you ever shut down the conversation, then it kills it and becomes a dictatorship. Mayor, you have 4 more years. I hope you still iron, because I got some things to talk about real quick. One of the things that I noticed that was difficult for me when I got on council is there was a lot to learn in a very quick time. I know staff does the best they could to provide that information. I was given a binder about this thick. The binder I created is about 3 inches, just from the information I picked up. One of the things I think is most important for the city and the council to do is the budget. That was a difficult thing to understand and grasp, because as you're going through the budget process, you're trying to learn the budget process. It is something that I think the council needs to push more on and have more say on it. I know that it comes pre-presented to us, and then there is items that we can ask to change or have removed or added to it. It was not easy for me to find ways to add stuff. I sent information out. I wish there would have been a little bit better response coming back on it. It forced me to make motions on the fly, which again is not something I think most people who are going to come to council are going to be able to do. I will push and I will drive. It's just my personality. Now, with that said, one of the things that we did push, and one of the items I did have on there, was additional support for the police department, and that was somebody in the mental health side of business. I believe there's additional tools that need to be added to the toolbox for the police, especially with the situations that come up. I think we've had some of them kind of acquiesce and drop down, but there is still a lot of situations and issues. I requested public information on it, was given private responses on it. I have recently looked and have not seen, but I'd like to know what the current status is. I completely understand the strong mayor's position of employment is your position. My council position is the budget, and it's the only thing I have to control that in my mind. I request, it's been a year. We have hired quite a few people that were not part of the budget, and we've hired quite a few officers since then. Do we currently have anything out there? Are we currently seeking employment, and is there actually a job position being posted at this moment in time?
Well, in response to your question about this, actually, Brian went back, watched the council meeting, and, we had a number of internal meetings on this because we wanted to be, and we listened very carefully to your comments, because I think that we first came at that issue with that it's funded by the council, but you're right, under the system, it's whether we would fill that position. But after you had articulated this, we wanted to honor that. We went back and looked, and I think actually what happened during the council discussions is, remember, we kept talking about that ongoing expenditures needed to meet ongoing revenues for a truly balanced budget. And I think that there was a conversation about, there was I think it came down to whether it was a lieutenant position or.
My recommendation was
Yeah.
lieutenant, but since that time, we used ARPA money to fund the police, which should allow for additional revenue streams to be sitting in the budget at the moment.
That's right, and so.
And it was a 4-3 vote, so it was not a one-way street.
That's right, that's right. But I think actually what had happened, and I think where I think it was either that position or that, and when or the lieutenant position, and then the budget was passed with both positions. And Brian, am I getting all that? Yeah. So it is interesting that I think that we didn't address it at the time, but as we responded to the entire council, I went back, thought about it, and thinking about the will of the council, actually, you convinced me that we should move forward in that direction, and perhaps the chief or Brian can say where we're at with that. But I think you moved the needle on that. We went back and reviewed it, and I made a decision, and that was articulated, I think, via email to the entire council, that we were going to do that.
I knew there was some conversation that they had found it, but the question was on the finance, and then I had not heard anything since, and then when I looked recently to find out if there was any postings, there was nothing. And I think the position will probably morph quite a bit as we find the right fit, but I believe that there's additional tools that need to be added for the situations that are coming to fruition.
Well, I think this conversation moved the needle, and when we had these conversations after the council discussed, after you bring this issue to the fore, I think actually moved the needle. Brian, can you give us, or where are we at?
Yeah, so we're looking at the current services that we use for this need, and comparing it to how we could turn that into a position description that we could then advertise. So it's not a position that we've had before, so we're starting from the ground up, looking at what other cities have, but then also what we're currently using, and because it's working well, so how can we turn that into a position is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and that we're heading in that direction. Sometimes government moves a little bit slower. Chief?
Yeah, we've done some research with Human Resources Department. For a mental health professional, what we've learned is that when we hire a position like that, we need to provide clinical supervision. So addition to hiring the position, hiring a company to supervise that mental health professional, we're probably looking at $250,000 for a purchase of a vehicle, office equipment, and so forth. So we need to spend about $250,000. And I've shared with all of you, we are currently receiving exceptional, because we're in King County, there's a levy, 9-year levy that was passed. We are getting 24/7, 7 days a week, mental health professional in the field. So when we call for mental health professional, King County provides that service. In the police department, we have to prioritize our work. Frankly, we're in the process of hiring as many officers as possible. We have capacity in terms of doing backgrounds, but we've done the initial work. We may come back to council and maybe recommend contracting with King County or another agency to provide this service. But there's a duplication of work here, and I've shared this with you before. We are already receiving this service, but if it is the will of the council to hire a position, we will do it. Realistically, probably June, July of next year.
Okay. All right. The wheels of government sometimes move slowly, council member, but I want to let you know you've moved the needle a bit.
I will put a caveat when they choose to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone who came and spoke tonight, and those who are still here, thank you. I want to remind everyone of Flag Day, November 8th, which is Saturday, huh? The irony of it, Flag Day. Well, that's what it's called. It was in June. And Veterans Day, and that's Saturday, 3 to 5 at the Aquatic Center Event Center. And I hope people come, especially our veterans. And Veterans Day is next Tuesday, November 11th. So thank you to the veterans who have served and made this country the country it is. The cold weather shelter, we haven't heard anything lately. It's getting cold. Nighttime is really cold. We've had horrendous rains. I've seen people sheltered in our bus shelters. They're not just sheltered, that some of them are doing other things that they shouldn't be doing. But when is that shelter opening? Do we know?
Brian?
Yeah, when we reach the thresholds that would trigger the opening, we would do that. Rain currently is not one of those criteria.
I guess I'm talking about the shelter that King County's opening.
Oh, the two.
Yeah, we can get you an update on that. I don't have
So
it.
the Red Lion, that shelter?
Or actually, let's
the
talk
one
about
that-
Shelter.
extended stay.
Yeah,
The
the Red
extended-
Lion, I don't anticipate to ever open.
Right.
So the extended stay is technically not a shelter, it's permanent supportive housing, not to be nitpicky, but there's a little bit of a difference there. The expectation for the extended stay is they have right now a temporary certificate of occupancy to go ahead and move furniture in. They're finishing up some life safety issues with railings and other things, but the expectation is like anytime, like sometime later this month, there could be occupants in the extended stay. Red Lion is probably going to be like March of next year.
You actually anticipate Red Lion will open?
So they've got their building permit. So they got to get a contractor on site. They got to mobilize that contractor. They got to finish a lot of wet fixtures and drywall and electrical and stuff. So, but March is probably reasonable.
Yeah, Councilmember, I actually, everything I've heard is that they are sincere about moving forward on that.
From what I've been told, the building is in such bad shape.
And one of the things we're trying to time right is to get Catholic Community Services, who's going to be the operator of the Red Lion, to come and make a presentation to the council. But we don't want to do that too soon. I actually talked about that with Angelina this week, that, so if we think that March is the right time, then maybe late January, early February, we'd have them come out and do a conversation with the council at a special council meeting.
It's interesting you say they have to move furniture into the extended stay, because when I walked through there, they had pots and pans and sheets on the bed, and they had everything they needed.
Some of it's done, some of it's not,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Walsh.
A great meeting today. With the public comment, that's one of the things we're here for, is to hear from everyone. And that's part of the great American system, is to be hearing different sides and being able to hear from all. And I appreciated that. There were a few of the comments that were kind of cloaked in the idea of the questions with flag, but then they went off in other directions about that we're heartless with housing and stuff like that. But I think that we've been making a real effort to, very concrete effort to move forward with housing, with affordable housing. And I think that that's one of the things that we have been doing. Today, when I read Pastor Joe Bowman's letter that he sent out, I gave him a call. And I let him know that, hey, I think that a Juneteenth celebration is important. And I think that we should be celebrating Juneteenth. I suggested maybe that celebration, ought to be in here or at the PAC or something else, but it doesn't need to necessarily involve a flag raising. But the idea of Juneteenth, I think, is very, very much needed and merited. And with other things, you know, with Pride and the other flags, I think that we can recognize things without a flag raising. And I know that Allison's back there, and I know that she disagrees with me on that, but Allison, I love you. But anyway, you know, part of the great American system is disagreement. And I think that ideally we can disagree without being disagreeable, and generally this evening I think that was the case. But I appreciated the comments. I learned a lot. It's, you know, I want to be able to understand people's perspective. And I think that the comments tonight hopefully helped everyone to understand different perspectives. Also, I'd like to say on your birthday, thank you. And you're digging into the budget and other things. I mean, everybody has different strengths, different weaknesses. Digging into budgets is not my strength. And I appreciate it that there's been somebody that has been willing to do that. And I think that all of us have different strengths, and we should be playing to those strengths, and together we make a stronger and council that can make better decisions. So,
Great,
thank you.
Councilor Adobe.
Yeah, again, I'll just acknowledge our colleague's birthday. It's not every day you turn 40. Then Lydia could be your mother. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to just acknowledge it was great that people came forward and with great passion and had lots of things to say. And, you know, that's just another council project that probably will come up sometime in the future. And I do want to just thank Keith Niven here for helping, and Brian and everybody else, but just kind of getting to the front of potentially being able to do affordable housing being built in Federal Way. At least we're at the starting gate where we weren't 4 months ago. And maybe we'll have a project here, and it's going to take more than a few meetings to get to the finish line or even get to the starting line, but at least we're starting. And I want to, so, in our land use meeting, it came out unanimous to move ahead and explore with the church. So it's something that hopefully in the next, before the end of the year, we can have some sort of framework and maybe be successful by getting something started and building some affordable for purchase housing in Federal Way on a small scale, so we can do the cookie cutter for the rest of the state to follow and the other properties in our city. So it'll be housing for everybody that wants to buy a house that qualifies, and see if we can be the catalyst to get it starting. So thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. Council President.
I would just like to suggest that when we do discuss this again, that the flag raising policy, that we create a committee that would review, take it out of our hands, put it in the hands of the community, where people can come to, not necessarily the Diversity Commission, because they have their own agenda they're working on, but a separate committee, a working committee, 8 to 10 people that would then discuss the policy, discuss the issues, and then come together to meet when, as situations arise, when there are differences of opinion, and then they can make recommendations to the council. That's my thought. But at any rate, thank you very much, and I'm very pleased to be part of this council.
All right, council, thank you very much. Great meeting. Thank you, everybody that's still here. Thank you for everybody that watched. Council, great job. Staff, great job. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Boy, Doug's not the only one now.